Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Fascinating developments out in Oxnard, California. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So happy to be with you on this Wednesday. We've got a lot to do on this very packed show today, but we start with the Cowboys training camp. And this is not about contracts. We've done that. Dak Prescott either will get a contract or he won't. Perloff.
We've done that.
Who's to say?
Jerry Jones has not done anything on contracts, ironically.
We've done it. We've talked about it from every possible angle. Now we all just wait and see. CeeDee Lamb, same thing. Michael Parsons, same thing. What I think is the interesting development that's going on in Oxnard, California is, where are the people? No people. By all accounts, several different beat writers, there are no fans showing up to Oxnard this year. Not nearly the droves that they usually come in, Perloff, when we've seen the Cowboys on Hard Knocks several times, and just knowing that this is a big event because the sun never sets on Cowboy fans. They're coast to coast. So the training camp is always a big deal. They've always done it, or they've done it at Oxnard for a long time.
Right.
And the fact that you're looking at pictures of the bleachers and other areas, and it's a ghost town there.
Okay. First of all, it's not in Dallas, so it's not a local fan base, right?
That they've always drawn before. And
Yeah,
that's
I know.
Never stopped
I don't know.
anybody.
I just think that this is a weird anomaly. I think maybe it's harder to fly right now because the planes are too crowded. As Yogi Berra said, no one goes there. It's too crowded. I don't know. Oxnard is out in the middle of nowhere, Southern California. I'm not sure what this indicates. I don't think it's. I still think they're America's team. I still think they're going to be the highest rated television team this year, just like they were last year, the year before that, every other year.
Okay. I do not think they're America's team anymore. And even if you want to say, oh, they're gasping and grasping at straws to still be America's team. Because the thing that has to happen for you to be America's team is at some point you do have to win.
Based on what?
This is what helped the Cowboys in the 70s and the 90s. It was fathers and grandfathers watching in the 70s and watching the team win, then reinforced by the next generation who watched them win in the 90s. And now you've got the third generation of Cowboy fans who would keep this alive and be carrying this torch. And they're not winning. And not only are they not winning, they're not even getting close. It's not like they're going to the Super Bowl and losing or going to the NFC Championship game. It's either the first round or the second round. You can basically pencil it in at some point. I do think in this more fractured, society where you really can be fans of just a guy. Like you're fans of the Eagles, obviously, and the 76ers.
Yeah.
But
Fantasy football, betting, all that.
Exactly.
But
you love just dudes.
Nothing's changed, though. What's it? They haven't been to the NFC title game since 95. That was almost 30 years ago.
I know, and I think it's taking its toll.
What do you mean taking its toll? They were far and away the most highest rated television team last year. No one was even close.
Okay, so top 10 telecasts last year.
Right.
Just top 10 telecasts in the world in the United States.
Right, but these are okay. But are these postseason games?
These are basically postseason games.
Yeah, but so what? Of course everyone watches the playoffs if you have to go on regular season.
Regular season, they're there, but guess who's right behind them? Kansas City.
I don't think
who's got a major influx in the fan base because of a certain pop
They needed
star.
Taylor Swift, and I don't even think they actually aren't even second. The teams that play the Cowboys are all second. During the regular season, they needed Taylor Swift to even challenge the Cowboys. I did see one stat of the top 100 telecasts of 2023. 18 were Cowboys games, 16 were Chiefs games. But on the regular, the Chiefs were the fifth highest rated team in the entire, because Fox just does bigger numbers.
Okay, but here's the thing. The Chiefs also were the top in the top rated telecast because that's obviously the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They were in the second highest, which is the AFC Championship.
That doesn't count.
It does.
It's the playoffs.
No,
everybody's tuning in for every playoff game.
Okay.
You could put the Chiefs on any team. I don't care if it was the Ravens. Everyone's watching the Super Bowl, Maggie.
Okay, but this is the thing. When you have another team that's consistently in these bigger games, and now you're consistently not in the biggest games, you can't tell me that does not have an impact
It
at
doesn't.
all.
I can prove it.
Here's
because
another
the
part.
Cowboys have not been in the biggest game in 30 years, and they are still the highest rated. I have actual mathematical proof here. 1995, Super Bowl. 2023, highest rated team, Dallas. You can't tell me there's a connection. You have this 28-year lag time. It doesn't make any sense.
I think that you have so many other good teams to root for. And you also have good teams to love and love to hate. Now, that's another thing about the Cowboys. I think you're tuning in mostly because there's fans of them everywhere. But to be kind of like the far and away most watched team, people got to love you and they got to love to hate you, like the Yankees and Duke and all that stuff. I think you now have another entrant into that conversation because I think there's going to be backlash on the Chiefs because they've won so much, because of the Taylor stuff. So now you have another team in Kansas City that sort of has all the things that the Cowboys have, which is stars, star power, bringing in the casual fan, all of that stuff. And they just keep winning and winning and winning and winning. So,
I think there's a different I think you have the formula all wrong.
I do.
I don't think it's winning, and I have proof because the Cowboys are on a run of 3, 12, and 5 years. But you have to remember, when they were 8-8 every year, they were still the highest rated team. So they don't even have to win. They don't have to get to the Super Bowl, and they're still the highest rated team. I just think that certain teams, for whatever reason, just have trouble being totally national. Now, listen, the Chiefs pulled a fastball with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they're global now.
But there's something a little bit parochial about the Chiefs. There was definitely something parochial about the Patriots where they felt more like a local team. Like west of the Mississippi, I don't think there's a ton of, Julian Edelman's shirts. Sure. I just think that there's something about the Cowboys that have broken through nationally. Also, everybody talks about them. Okay, now that sounds like an annoying thing, but I do think when ESPN and Fox had this algorithm, hey, when I bring up a Dallas Cowboys headline or a LeBron James headline, everybody's tuning in. And that, I think, is a snowball effect. So the fact that everybody's talking about them means more people are talking about them. I just think they're in your face all the time, and that has an effect.
I also think that trends do change, and I do think that tastes change, trends change, and I think this is a small microcosm in how we got started on this conversation in the first place, is that training camp is basically a ghost town right now for the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys will tell you, hey, we have our second season tickets renewed at a faster rate. That's their word against nobody's. I have no idea about the Cowboys season tickets. I'm not calling them liars. I'm just saying I have no idea. You have to take their word for it. What I don't have to take their word for is what I can see with my eyes, which is the place is empty. And we have anecdotal evidence because we've got amazing callers and listeners and people who reach out to the show. The apathy. And listen, is that something where will you really have the big Daves of the world, the guys, when the season comes back around, will they be sucked back in? Listen, if you want to get sucked back in, that's totally your right. This is sports. It's supposed to be fun. Right. It's supposed to be entertainment. But I either have to go with the Cowboys telling me how great their season tickets are, or I can go with my eyes and say, wow, it looks like nobody is showing up because I think there is a level of apathy now because they have not been winning.
I will bet you anything they are the 3 highest rated regular season games.
They also get a little bit of a benefit here, which is they get Thanksgiving.
Well, that's my cheat code. They're definitely getting they always are number one with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, Commanders, Cowboys. It was last year, and it was massive, of course.
Of course, every year.
And they're going to are they on another holiday too?
Well, I think
last year they were on Christmas Eve.
I think you take out the holidays, which, by the way, the holiday ratings are insane. I was looking at the ratings. Insane. So now you know why the NFL is putting all these games on the holidays.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I don't like it because I feel like holidays should just be for family, but it's fine. I get it. People have time off. That's fine.
Why would you want to spend time talking to your family when you can have football on television? That's insanity right there.
I know.
And I don't even think you believe that. You're telling me you want to sit and talk to Aunt Janice for another hour and a half?
This is just for the transcript of the show.
You hear about, she had corn surgery on her foot, or you're going to go watch the Dolphins play the Bills. Give me a break. Yeah. So the thing is, the non-Thanksgiving, I think the Cowboys-Eagles game in Philly was the highest non-Thanksgiving game. Listen, the Chiefs have had some big whoppers, but they have Taylor Swift. That doesn't count. I think I need to see sustain. The dynasty of our era was the Patriots. You're telling me the Patriots games did not rate like the Cowboys games, partly because I think the Fox-CBS split.
Yeah.
But also, the Patriots
weren't getting Fox 4:00 Eastern time. And
they were big, but even the Patriots, first of all, it took them 20 years to win all those Super Bowls. They were in and out, and I just don't think they were beloved like the Cowboys are.
Listen, I think that the biggest thing with the Patriots was when it was Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, and those were incredibly high-rated games, and that's actually what it's more about now. Quarterback v. quarterback. I think runs and drives a lot of this. And the best quarterback far and away, going away, is Patrick Mahomes. And he's the star of this league. And then you have the Josh Allens and Lamars and stuff like that. You can fill in behind him. But it's Patrick Mahomes' world still. He and Andy Reid together, people love them, and they're going to start to love to hate them too. And that's going to put them in the driver's seat for America's team. And then obviously the Taylor thing on top of it. But she's going to be at every game this year.
I think the peak of Tom Brady is actually Deflategate. Like, I think that's the one time he really took everybody's attention. Like, I think you need some scandal.
Yeah.
You need I honestly, like, I remember the most on Dan Patrick Show we ever talked about Tom Brady was Deflategate. The most calls we ever got about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Consistent success from a family man like Patrick Mahomes. That's great. And he's a wizard on the field. I'm not sure that's the formula. I think the Cowboys, by the way, the fact that the Cowboys are going to this limbo season with all these guys, how can anyone not tune into that? That's going to be incredible television. I don't know why they're not showing up in Oxnard. There's really no reason to show up in Oxnard. The players aren't showing up in Oxnard. Dak is there.
You think it's because CeeDee Lamb's not there?
I just
don't think so.
There is, like, they've had the same team for a little while now, so there's some apathy. But you can't, if this gets dramatic towards the end, I think these ratings are going to be monstrous for the Cowboys this year. Now, I do think the Chiefs will challenge them, but only because Taylor Swift's there.
Let's hear from Jerry Jones, can we, Pete? Jerry Jones, this is from yesterday, saying he knows the fans are frustrated.
I think our fan base is frustrated. And I think they want to beat a Green Bay, and I think they want to beat the next one that comes up.
And Jerry goes on to say that the Cowboys have underachieved.
We're the second seed in the whole NFC. And we were as healthy as any club that has been in the playoffs in many years. Not just the Cowboys, any club. We were healthy. We should have gone further. And we had a quarterback that arguably was the most valuable player in the league last year. We should have gone further.
Yeah, and I do think there becomes I think Cowboy fans are just worn out. I think they're worn out by the losing. They're worn out by the unmet expectations. They're worn out by Jerry. Maybe they're worn out by us in the media. They're just worn out. And they're going to keep watching football because why take away something that we all love? But as far as the next generation of Cowboy fans, when I got all these other quarterbacks I can choose from and all these other teams I can choose from, am I just going with my dad's team or not the team in town, the other team, which a lot of Cowboys fans is kind of like, oh, I'm not going to root for, I'm not going to root for the Lions. I'm going to root for the Cowboys. I'm not going to root for, San Francisco. I'm going to root for the Cowboys. I just think there's other places to put your fandom, and it's the Chiefs.
I'd be shocked if the Chiefs long-term outrated the Cowboys. First of all, there's a special combination here. They have the entire state of Texas. I mean, yeah, I know Houston's good, but Dallas itself is a huge city, huge metro. Then they happen to be matched up by some magical combination with the Northeast, where all the people are. It's like 70% of the country lives east of the Mississippi. I just think there's no. I was looking at 2010 to 2019. The Cowboys did nothing on the field, just absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Their dominance in the television market was overwhelming for that span. Like nobody sniffed them then. I mean, they're still just as dominant. So I just don't think that, and none of that makes sense to me. Like they never had to win before. Why would they have to win in 2024? And the fact that they're even above 500 is like incredible.
Because the other part too, Pearl, is like we're asking if the Cowboys are still America's team.
Yeah.
Back then, even when you were talking about what 2008, is that what
2010 to 2020? Back then.
Well, again, you still didn't have.
How about last year then?
Okay, but here's the thing. Everything's at our fingertips now in terms of you can watch whatever game you want to watch.
Right.
Yeah, there even still, if you're talking about 15 years ago, I don't think DirecTV and Red Zone and not just Red Zone, but watching out of market games has just become easier and easier. It has not become cheaper. I'll give you that.
Right.
But it has become easier and easier where you don't just have to watch whatever's on at Fox at 4:00 Eastern time. You do have so many choices of what's on your cable.
Right, but it's still, they had a couple games that were all-timers last year. I mean, was last year so different?
But again, it's Thanksgiving. No kidding.
I think they had the highest non-Thanksgiving game, too.
Well, it was Thanksgiving, and then they had Christmas Eve.
They had the highest non-holiday game. As far as the Eagles game was, I think, the highest non-holiday game. I think they had the second and third highest non-holiday games. They're huge.
I don't think they're America's team anymore. Let's hear from you.
Wait, just out of curiosity. So America's team is the Chiefs just because they're so good?
I think they're good and there's a backlash. So like you love them, you love to hate them. I think that they have all the things that would make you America's team.
I'll get out of here. Backlash against the Chiefs? I do not. People are really getting in their feelings about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in a division with the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. They have no rival.
I think that there are people who love them And I think there's people who are getting real sick of the Chiefs.
You think people are going to hate watch Week 8 of the Chargers-Chiefs? That game, it's barely going to be watchable.
They're going to watch it. 855-212-4227. Are the Cowboys still America's team? You are welcome to weigh in on that. If you want to watch the show, hi, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and on X at Maggie Gray is where you can watch us on the Twitter. We've got so much to do today. Amazing show. What we saw yesterday afternoon, I think, is something that's going to stay with me for quite some time. We'll tell you what it is next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Now you've made me upset, Maggie.
Why?
This whole argument about is Dallas Cowboys still America's team. I'm putting out my own poll, and I only do that when I have really
When you want
really
your Eagles fans to come in.
Here's my poll question, and tell me if you think this is fair, because I've been accused of juicing the numbers. Big show debate. Will the Dallas Cowboys fall off their perch as the most watched team in the NFL next season? What say you, yes or no? And anybody, even if I lose this poll, then I can pull this poll up in January when it is proven the Dallas Cowboys are the most watched team. And by the way, I think the Cowboys are more watchable next season than they've ever been. Who does not like a train wreck?
Okay, but here's the thing. That's not really the argument. We're talking about America's team, and you're only going to TV ratings.
Yes, once again, that's the argument. If they are the most watched team, then they are America's team.
I don't think so. I think there are other things that go into this argument because,
like what?
First of all, what are they counting the streaming numbers? Right?
Yes, of course. That's just, no.
I just want to make sure
the ratings are the ratings.
All votes are counted. Number one. Two, I would love to know social media metrics about the younger set and the younger crowd. I would love to know about other ways. Who are the new fans that maybe are coming over to the Chiefs because of a certain pop star? Like, America is much more than just the TV rating because, again, you could put you and I playing football on Thanksgiving and we'd get 30 million people. There's a lot of that, their ratings, a lot of the really big numbers are because they are getting really solid time slots when everyone's around their TV.
Well, yeah, but they're blowing away other teams in the same time slots. Just you could put them in other teams at 4 o'clock on Fox and Cowboys do 30% higher. So it's not just a time slot. You could put even the great games, like the Packers are high profile as you get. They're not doing Cowboys numbers at a 4 o'clock game on week 9 or whatever. It's just nobody's competing with them. And I disagree with you in the sense that if they are the most watched team, that makes them America's team. And I'm saying,
but you can goose that in different ways.
I'm saying most watch. I'm not saying the highest TV ratings. I'm saying most watch. Are they? And I don't really believe that. I think the fact that if they get 50 million tune in on broadcast television for, I think that matters. I still think it matters. And obviously the networks agree because they're paying billions and billions of dollars for live sports.
But let's just reimagine that Dexter Henry is here and that the Steelers were branded America's team because they could have been, right? I mean, back in the 70s, the same time, Cowboys, Steelers, and the Steelers were on every Thanksgiving, and they'd been doing it for 40 years, and all of that. It would have been the Steelers.
I don't think so. I think it's pure geography. I think Dallas has these New York, Washington, Philly, CBS with Madden, Summerall. I do not think Pittsburgh was set up the same way.
Why? Pittsburgh's also in the Northeast.
They've always been CBS, and they're in the division. They've always had the Browns and the Cincinnati. I just think that the bigger cities have always been in on the Cowboys. I think that this is an amazing formula for the NFL, and they've been riding it forever. I'd be shocked. I'll just tell you right now that the Cowboys are going to have huge ratings this year. I don't care who's in Oxnard for the
everyone's going to have huge ratings.
But nobody's going to have ratings like the Cowboys. They're just like maybe the Chiefs, if Taylor Swift goes to every game and isn't on tour, maybe the Chiefs challenge them this year. But I think that I don't care who's at training camp. If the Cowboys are a mess this year, which easily could happen, it's going to be captivating. And I guess, do you agree with that at least?
What if they're a disaster?
If they're a disaster, that you're going to want to watch them?
You know, it's interesting about that because I do think people will tune in for the disaster and the downfall. But if, like the year that Dak Prescott got hurt and your pal Andy Dalton came in and they just sort of fell off, it wasn't interesting to keep watching. That
was a bad year. Yeah, I don't know what happened. You're right. That was a very boring year, but that was all around the pandemic. What year was that? 2020 or 2019?
I thought it was before. It was 19, I believe.
Like, for example, Sunday, September 8th, 4:25, Cowboys at Cleveland. I mean, you're telling me you're not going to watch that game? Deshaun Watson against Dak Prescott?
You're looking at me. I watch every game.
I'm just saying, but you don't have to necessarily watch the Panthers-Falcons. I have to see what happens in that Cowboys-Browns game. It's different. It's not every game.
And now they got Tom Brady.
I mean, Dexter, you're a Steelers fan. You're telling me you're not curious what's going to happen in that Browns-Cowboys game? 4:25, week 1?
I'm curious, but I do think Maggie brings up a really interesting point of how much of is this branding over the years, right? Like, it's been told America's team is America's team, America's team, that people buy it. Not saying that it's not, but I just wonder how much that is a factor into people viewing them that way. Right, and also wanting to see the demise, or if it's a train wreck and all of that. But it's been kind of told to you that it's America's team.
Forget America's team. Are they the most watchable team? Are they the team that you have to watch? If you have to watch any out-of-market team, would you?
No,
Okay.
it's 49ers. Without a doubt, it's the 49ers.
Man.
An
So,
out-of-market
like,
team for us, being on the East Coast, the 49ers are the must-watch.
Because you look at them as the most interesting, most talented team, right?
And the Chiefs. I mean, 49ers and Chiefs.
Because they were in the Super Bowl last year.
Well, and they are now they are the teams that are the factor.
Yeah, but a Week 7 Niners-Cardinals game, nobody here is watching that. It's on 4:25. You're exhausted after the 1 o'clock slate. It's like buried in red zone. That is not rating.
I love that because maybe is that a trap game? Always tough to play in Arizona. Kyler Murray is healthy.
Just picture yourself in the fall. That game is like, the Niners are up 26-12 on the Cardinals, and it's a 4 o'clock game. Okay, I'm going to go make a sandwich. That game is always tough to throw away.
That's right where Kyler Murray wants them.
See, the throwaway window is those NFC West. I mean, who knows? Anyway, all right, I'm done with the Cowboys. I mean, they don't need my support. They are going to have 42 million people watching every game.
The question is, we'll put out on X for you at Maggie and Pearl. Are the Cowboys still America's team? Dexter is here with all the latest headlines. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. We're going to start off with some NFL news. Not talking about the Cowboys here, though. The Chicago Bears and wide receiver DJ Moore, they reached an agreement on a 4-year, $110 million contract extension. That's the largest in franchise history. The deal includes $82.6 million guaranteed. That ranks third for a wide receiver on a single contract in NFL history, behind Justin Jefferson, $100 million, A.J. Brown, $84 million. All three players agreed to their deals this offseason. Moore, he's under contract with the Bears through the 2029 season. So, guys, I want to ask you this. In terms of NFL team building, where do you rank having a top-flight wide receiver? How important is that to you?
I'm a famous do not pay wide receivers guy. Just because, I mean, it's impossible to ignore the Chiefs just won 2 Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill. I don't care. You can pull any numbers you want. That is one of the most stunning team-building developments of the last 10 years. I never would have predicted that. Tyreek Hill was a menace, and boom, they just changed and become a defense-first team and win the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different because they have the best quarterback in the league, and they have maybe the smartest offensive head coach in the league outside of Kyle Shanahan. So if anyone was going to be able to navigate through these waters, maybe the Chiefs were best set up to do it. I always wonder if the Patriots with Randy Moss, if they had just beaten the Giants and just finished the job, if we would think a lot differently about this. It's like, well, of course, when you get the big wide receiver, it makes your quarterback even better, even Tom Brady.
But it's through the years. I mean, number one receivers and Hall of Fame receivers famously don't win anything. T.O. never won. Randy Moss never won.
Good point.
Jerry Rice won, but that was different. So there is like a long history. Like you could go through the Super Bowl winners. There's very few like legit number one receivers for what mostly because the Patriots.
Yeah. Why was Jerry different?
Because he won everything. I mean, because they were on the Bill Walsh and Joe Montana just shocked the NFL with their offense. I mean, Jerry Rice, but that was 45 years ago. The last 25 years, name a number one receiver that has really done anything. Tyreek Hill, but generally it's not. That's a well documented stat. Like there are not a lot of Hall of Fame receivers who win at the highest level. Yeah,
they do get to the Super Bowl though. A lot of big time receivers get to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So that sometimes they don't win that game, but it's not like they don't help you. It's got to obviously be the right setup. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I think this is an amazing situation that Caleb Williams is walking into. I mean, this is generally not your normal thing when you're the number one overall pick. And I think this just solidifies the fact that they think enough of DJ Moore, his commitment, football acumen, all that stuff, made the big trade for him to give him this kind of contract. We had not heard a word really about this. And now here it comes. It shows you what they think of him and just this core now between Williams, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze.
That sounds amazing on paper, but I don't think it ever works out that way. I think like the cheap cheap wide receiver rooms are winning a lot of Super Bowl. Like I'm looking, the Rams obviously weren't paying anything for their receivers. They happen to have a Cooper Kupp breakout. Chiefs don't pay anything for their receivers. I don't think the Bucks, when they won the Super Bowl, Brady had a super expensive room.
What about the 49ers? I mean, their room keeps getting expensive. They definitely paid Debo, paid Kittle.
Well, in the year they first got there against I know they had Emmanuel Sanders at the end of his career, but I don't think that's a team that generally has paid receivers in the past, but they haven't won. The Eagles in 2017, they had Alshon Jeffrey, but that's not a Hall of Famer. There's not. Just look at the list of Hall of Famers.
AJ Brown 2 years ago.
Yeah, but look at the list of Hall of Fame receivers. Do any of them have rings? Not a lot of them do.
Okay, but how many have NFC or AFC championship games? Like, how many at least got to the game, right? It's like, yeah, you might not have won it, but did you help your team get there? I mean... And Tyreek Hill did win.
This is such a Bills fan perspective. Like,
Why?
you know that you only get a ring when you win the Super Bowl. Not getting to the Super Bowl is like, that's good. But you need to win the Super Bowl for the confetti to come down in your team color.
I'm just
getting
saying,
to the Super Bowl. Who cares? Anybody could get to the Super Bowl. You got to win it, Meg.
Well, but I'm just saying, it's like you think that wide receivers don't help you at all. Like there's no success. It doesn't matter at all. And I'm saying I think that's very different. Look at the teams who are consistently in the playoffs generally have number ones.
Yes, but let's look at the teams that consistently win the Super Bowl. What is the common thread? They have great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Take Nico Collins in Houston. He got paid this offseason, right? Why did he jump up so significantly last season?
Because C.J. Stroud.
Right. So look at the numbers. Like I heard this number last year. Jamar Chase, he's holding out. When Joe Burrow is out of the game, his numbers dip by 200%.
Oh, look at Devontae Adams. I mean, we can play this game.
That's why I think you need the quarterback. The quarterback is a common ingredient.
That's kind of
so
why
you put the money into the quarterback, and then you have the quarterback and the offensive coordinator, and then you rotate in receivers. The Chiefs, I think, have laid the correct blueprint out. So I would not overinvest. I don't really understand what the Bears are doing, paying all these guys.
You don't like. That's why I asked the question, bro. You don't like the investment there.
I was a little surprised that DJ Moore got this money right now.
Everyone was.
I was like, you just drafted Roma Dunze.
Right.
Do you really need? You don't hate it because we all like DJ Moore. He's a good player, but it was like, wait, DJ Moore's getting the bag right now? It surprised me.
I mean, just because we haven't been talking about it like we have been with CeeDee Lamb and other people, but I think this is the smart move. You're going to have this core. I didn't even mention, the left tackle that they just drafted a couple years ago. Like you're getting the band together here offensively, and while Caleb Williams is cheap, this is the time when you do invest. What else you got for us, Dax?
All right, got some NBA drama, guys, where Georgia's Niang, he still feels some kind of way about Ben Simmons, and his disdain goes back to when Simmons refused to play for the Sixers and held out back in 2021. Now, Niang was on the Road Tripping Show with Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson, and take a listen to this. He did not hold back.
The Ben Simmons thing that me off because, guys are trying to make a living, right? And I came from Utah. I signed, just a little over the minimum, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'm a spot-up shooter. This guy drives the lane. Everybody collapses. He kicks out. This is going to be great for my career. Yeah. I signed a 2-year deal. And then he was like, I'm not playing. And I'm like, what the
So Niang, he's not happy, right? Because Simmons was messing in his eyes with his money. But then he further explained that Simmons wasn't really showing love to any players around the facility. Take a listen.
He was walking around the facility, you'd be like, what's up, man? Because they're like, welcome him back in, And he'd be like, and that's when I was like, this dude, if I get an opportunity to play against this dude, I'm going to be there's etiquette in the game. There's don't do dumb when you're out there. I was like, window.
He is still so mad about this right now. After leaving the Sixers, Niang, he still got the biggest contract of his career, so it all worked out for him financially. But I got to ask you both. Don't name any names. Have you ever had a coworker who was messing up the vibes or messing up the money for you where you were feeling some kind of way about what was going on? Maybe you didn't go off like Niang did, but you felt some kind of way. Has this ever occurred? It's occurred for me. I will say that.
Solid no comment for me.
Solid no comment.
Oh, yeah, Maggie, yeah. I've never been high enough on the food chain that it mattered at all.
It's okay. His name rhymes with Schmeich Schmessa. Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely had a coworker who came back and definitely messed with my money. But listen.
Dexter, that was a cruel question.
Thanks for bringing up old stuff. I feel like I should be the next guest on that road tripping pod.
You should.
Here's the one thing about this story. It was kind of interesting about airing this out. I think there was an idea that maybe Ben Simmons, God, I mean, who knows what's going to happen to him moving forward, but that he was like really dealing with some mental issues. This makes me think the teammates obviously don't think that. They think this was just about him and him either being selfish or whatever, because you were always wanted to give a little grace, like, man, is this guy like really going through it? Because then you don't really want to criticize him in the same way if you have all this mental stuff going on. Doesn't feel like the teammates think this was like him being like depressed or something, or him being really out of his mind. They just think he was being a terrible teammate.
Yeah, because the second part of the audio is what got me, right? If you're going up to a guy and kind of saying, hey, and he's not giving you the love back, like that he's trying to be in here with the team, and we get it. We know he was holding out. That's just, I could understand. I understand why George Niang was kind of like, what he said. Yeah. I kind of understand that.
Well, I honestly, George Niang should have visited the Perloff household in that prime Ben Simmons year. The minivan, I love him. First of all, George Niang, amazing dude. He's the easiest Sixer to root for. I'm not a Sixer anymore. But Ben Simmons has always been bad. Ben Simmons can't shoot from the outside and would just dribble 40 feet from the basket for 18 out of 24 seconds again and again and again. His man was always on Embiid. Like, George should have watched some tape. Like that image of Ben Simmons as this facility, he was a ball killer. I mean, the movement around him stunk. He was terrible. He's the reason the process didn't work. Ben Simmons, I hated him way more when he was playing 40 minutes a game. I think the best thing that ever happened to Sixers was he stopped playing.
Wait, Dex, hold that thought 1 second, because I do want to get back to this Cowboys thing. We're asking if they're still America's team, and Alex is on the phone from Hawaii. We were talking about how Cowboys camp in Oxnard, basically a ghost town right now. Alex, you have a thought on this. Good morning.
Right. About a week ago, I read an article, and by the way, I love how you guys start at midnight here, But I read an article about a week ago that, and it had to do with the Raiders, and I'm wondering if it has the same effect on the Cowboys, is that the Chargers, and I don't know if you addressed on your show, because I live in Arizona, and you normally start at 3 a.m., but I don't know if you addressed on your show last week, but the Cowboys, or the Rams and the Chargers are blocking the Raiders from having fans at their training camp. Wouldn't be surprised they're doing the same thing to the Cowboys, too. They're enforcing the territorial rights.
Interesting. Hold on. EJ's got a thought on this, joining us from the home studios. Good morning, EJ.
Hey, so I actually read this yesterday. So apparently the Cowboys, for some reason, are exempt by this rule. I know we talked about it, I think, either this week or last week, that, like, what the caller was saying was right, that the Raiders who are doing their camp at South and Southern California, they can't have local fans or local media at their practices because of an NFL rule that a lot of people didn't know. The Cowboys are exempt from that rule, which is why they've always had fans at their training camp practices. This year, there are some fans there. It is just like 80% less than a normal packed bleachers that we normally see at Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, which is very weird.
Thank you for that, EJ. Alex, so yeah, it looks like the Cowboys are exempt. The fans just aren't showing up. They're showing how much they're frustrated by no showing.
Yep. Okay, I didn't see that part of the article, but definitely, I didn't realize that. All right, you guys have a good one, and I missed you guys in the afternoon, I will say.
Oh, Alex, thanks so much, and we're glad we can be on late night in Hawaii, Perloff. That's
that is
Perloff. Midnight Hawaii show. That sounds cool.
Now I'm obsessed with the Cowboys ratings here. By the way, they open up at Cleveland, but then they have a dud. Week 2, New Orleans, 1 o'clock. Their only 1 o'clock game. That'll be bad. Maybe the Cowboys ratings will fall until Week 4. Why did the Cowboys Giants, by the way, the Cowboys beat them by 40 points every game? That's going to get $35 million.
Well,
I'll tell you. And wait, we're at another debate, too. EJ is criticizing my wording in Police. The question is not, are they America's team? That's a nebulous thing that means nothing. I'm asking, will they be the highest rated show on television? And that's a yes.
I think the question is, are they still America's team? Let's let Dexter finish up his update here. And by the way, you can call it 855-212-4227. You can also vote on the poll at Maggie and Pearl on X. Dex, what else do you have?
Last thing I got is about the Olympics. Exciting day 5 of the 2024 Olympics in Paris. Got a couple of notable events today. U.S. women's soccer team, they'll finish group play against Australia. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. USA men's basketball, they'll continue in the group stage against South Sudan, 3 p.m. Eastern tip. And Katie Ledecky, she's going to go for another gold medal in the 1,500-meter freestyle final. Plus, 2 swimmers are going to walk away with Olympic gold medals following the women's 100-meter freestyle and the men's 200-meter butterfly final. Swimming events, they start at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today. excited to watch some more Olympics. Hope you guys have been enjoying.
Oh, we've been loving it. And in fact, got a big question off of what we saw yesterday. Absolute goosebumps moment if you were watching the women's gymnastics, and a big question off of Simone Biles and her making history. We'll get to all of that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Wow, this is incredible. You know, I always thought the most surreal part of my career would be the puffy shirt or the soup Nazi.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Infinity Sportsnet. So, yesterday, watching Simone Biles and the women's gymnastics team, Perloff. I've been really into these Olympics. I know you have been also. Just goosebumps. I mean, 3 years ago, Simone Biles had to withdraw from the games because she had the twisties, they say. It's like a version, like sort of a mental lapse where she felt unsafe competing in doing all these high, flying gymnastics routines. And now, what does she do? Leads the U.S. women's gymnastics team back to the top of the podium. I mean, full-on resilience, not to mention some of the things that have happened in her personal life where she got, was a victim of Larry Nassar, that awful, evil doctor who was abusing these young girls. I mean, everything about her story is about resilience to me. And that was a heck of a moment yesterday. One I think I'll remember for a really long time because of how impactful it was.
Oh, yeah. I was telling you, I watched a Netflix documentary, Simone Biles.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'm a huge super fan. I have to admit, I missed last night. Let me ask you a question, though. Sure. Is it the individual thing, like the big emotional moment? Like, is a team... what's her peak of Olympics? Because it hasn't happened yet, though, has it? I mean, last night there was a lot going on. My Phillies were losing to the Yankees. I don't want to get into that. There was swimming. I feel like the individual, that is going to be the Simone Biles super moment if she wins this again, if she kills it, and especially in the all-around.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's still going to add to more medals. So she's got 8 now. She's got 5 golds. There could be more, and I feel like there will be more in her future when the individual events happen. So there's still time to watch her if you haven't been able to catch it yet. But I think there's something about these individual sports, and they are so individual. You're basically competing against these men and women your whole life, and then now you come together as a team. And I think they do get a lot from that. Some teams probably closer than others. It seemed like because you're individual, you're competing as an individual for so long that they get really something out of becoming a team. And there had been some criticism of the team from inside the gymnastics world that they were getting lazy. I'm like, I don't know how you'd ever accuse these women of being lazy. But some within the gymnastics community had been critical, and they were dubbing this run the bleep around and find out run. And so, as they're sitting there with the gold medals around their necks last night, I guess everyone bleeped around and find out.
So, tell me, what was the best moment? Was it Biles? Was she dominant? I did see, I tuned in, I saw Jordan Childs fell off the beam, and that was a big problem, but I guess they kind of did it easily.
And she redeemed herself on floor, great on vault. It was basically a very dramatic moment where the Americans were slightly out of the top 3. Biles has to do her floor routine, and she just goes out and nails it. I mean, the degree of difficulty on her passes are so much higher than everyone else. She can afford to step out of bounds right here or, step out of bounds there. And the deductions from that pale in comparison to the amount of points she gets for these incredible things she's accomplishing. We're asking, is she the greatest Olympian of the modern era? I mean, you have to put Michael Phelps because of just the pure medal count. 28 medals for Phelps, who was in attendance yesterday to watch Biles. 23 gold, 3 silver, 2 bronze.
Don't get me started.
And I know you're not a huge fan of Olympic swimming.
No, I'm a huge fan of Olympic swimming. I just think that you can be a swimmer and win 8 golds for doing the same thing. Basically, like there's just what Phelps did was incredible. He's unprecedented, but there's a lot of medals to get as a swimmer. Like Simone
really rack them up.
Simone can't come away with 9 medals. That's just not going to happen. Well, actually, what's the number? 8? It's
she has 8 now. She has 5
No,
gold.
but Phelps could win 8 and 1. The total medal count is crazy. Like how many? Usain Bolt is, I think, right there. I think the 3 of them to me are the most dominant. That's, in my opinion, that's a conversation of the last 25 years. Phelps, Biles, and Bolt. And in some ways, I'm always more impressed by Bolt.
Really?
I mean, just the fact that he ran the 100 and was waving to the crowd and setting a world record.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was
eating
something,
McDonald's and being able to win that. I'm like, how?
There was something breathtaking about I would actually go, this is my order. I would go Bolt right behind him, Biles, because her floor routines she can literally fly.
Have you seen the balance beam? How does she do that?
And Phelps a close third. For some reason, the first two seem more spectacular to me. Am I missing something with swimming?
It's different. It's like your taste, because obviously the degree of difficulty on what Biles is executing is obviously the highest.
Yeah. I mean, Usain Bolt just runs 100 yards or 100 meters.
Yeah, there's no chance you're going to land on your head.
I could. And there's nothing better than that rare track video where the guy does slip and fall. Those are awesome.
He ends up taking out everyone around him. Those are awful. But
or when they're doing the Edwin Moses thing, what's that called? Where they jump over the little,
the hurdles?
Yeah, the hurdles, right. I can't believe I just blanked on hurdles. I tweeted out a video of like 5 years, the last Olympics, some guy falling on the hurdles, and it went super viral because it's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Anyway, but what Biles does, especially in some of the jumps, I find them quite dangerous as well. I'm always worrying that the gymnasts are going to fall on their head. Phelps and Bolt, that's a totally different thing.
There's not a danger.
There's a straight lineness about it.
Yeah, definitely. And then it's like, all right, what kind of, the athleticism, it's just different, right? It's like Phelps, it's got to be, especially for some of the longer distance swims, like what you can handle, what your body can handle.
But that's endurance. So that's the thing. We always argue about this. Like, endurance doesn't do anything for me. That's like, I'm not the best exerciser. Who cares? I feel like Usain Bolt had this God-given gift that makes him different, because there's a lot of guys with a lot of endurance. Anybody can run a marathon. I just think what Usain Bolt did is so spectacular. And I think that's an unpopular take. I think most people would go Phelps, Biles, Bolt.
See, I think Biles is number one. I do.
Oh, you could go Biles. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not going to argue with you. She's unbelievable.
And maybe there's a part of this where you know how to swim, you know how to run. Nobody can do what she does.
But let me ask you another question, too. Does her story and the ups and downs add to her being number one? Or does it take away from her being number one?
I mean, I think it adds, but, she was, had to go into foster care because her mom was an addict. You just watched the documentary.
Unbelievable.
Mom was an addict, ended up getting, going to live with family member in Texas.
Grandparents adopted her
and
her sister. You mentioned the Larry Nassar thing, but what about the twisties? Like she came up short in the last Olympics, but for some reason that's not a negative on her. The fact that she came back from that is a huge positive.
And I think that's what's adding to her story right now.
Yeah,
no doubt,
100%.
And that's the resilience. Listen, everyone has probably overcome a lot. Like Michael Phelps had his own demons. He's very outspoken now about mental health and seeking therapy.
Yep.
I mean, Usain Bolt, maybe a little bit more of a, happy-go-lucky, at least outwardly. But I'm sure he's had his challenges as well.
I was just reading the recap of the story, and in the 8th paragraph, they mentioned that Biles had a therapy session that morning.
Yeah.
So I love that they're making mental therapy such an open topic, and credit Simone Biles for that. I think that's very impactful as well in a good way.
I just thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And she's incredible. I think she is the greatest Olympian of the modern era.
Let me ask you a question. If you could see at their peak any of the three live, which one would you want to?
Not even a question.
Yeah.
Got to be Biles.
See, for me, I think my buddy Dan Patrick was saying this. To see Bolt run the 100 live must have been like lightning.
Oh, do you remember that photo? The
Yeah.
SI photo with the lightning in London?
Oh, no, I don't remember.
It's the lightning in the background as he's crossing the finish line. The one thing, though, as a spectator, that's going to last 9 seconds.
I know, but
and
that
then what
one
do you do?
moment.
Then where are you going? You're just going to get a beer and a hot dog and just Simone, you get to watch on multiple apparatuses.
A lot of guys have been there 9 incredible seconds, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
You take a nap.
Yeah, right.
I don't
just
know.
go on your phone for a little bit and go to sleep.
Something about Usain Bolt was always just incredible to me. Just something that is so different than everybody else. Now, my question, too, is Biles so much better than everybody else? Maybe. Is she the Michael Jordan of gymnastics?
She is. I mean, the degree of difficulty of stuff she's doing is not like anyone else.
Yeah.
So
I could buy it. Listen, I hate to rank them like that because all three are incredible.
I just love how you're into the Olympics because you were reluctant a couple weeks ago and now you're all in.
Nah, I don't know.
You're definitely watching USA South Sudan later today.
No way. I'm out on men's basketball. Honestly, the fact that they blew out Serbia in game one, I thought it was going to be dramatic. I thought all the games were going to be close. Aren't you a little disappointed? Don't you want to see some drama?
What if South Sudan hits 14
They're
more
going to
threes?
kill South Sudan.
It could happen, guys. 855-212-4227. Question of the morning. Are the Cowboys still America's team? Get to that and more. NFL training camp next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Big question, will they, won't they? What am I talking about? Players suiting up in the preseason. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's always a topic this time of year, Pearl. Who's going to play in the preseason? Who's going to get actual live reps and who's not?
Yeah. For example, Caleb Williams is definitely not seeing live reps in Canton on Thursday night.
No, I mean, I'll still tune into the game, but he's going to be on the sideline.
That game is always such a disappointment because it's the earliest game. Nobody who's going to sniff the field in September is going to be on that field.
You get the sense that the practices they hold with other teams.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, those are sort of replacing preseason games in general. Preseason is, I don't think they're really going to even have it in 5 years. The trend is just so against it. But anyway, your point of bringing up preseason is?
Let's get to it, Pete. Let's hit it.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Well, has to make a decision. Coming off the Achilles, trying to get some rhythm with the teammates. Is he going to play this preseason? Here's his head coach, Robert Saleh, says it's unlikely that Rodgers will play in the preseason, but did leave the door open just a little bit.
We haven't really talked about it. My instinct right now as I stand here is we'll see.
Your instinct is we'll see.
My instinct is no, but
I saw you going.
But I want to leave it open that that third game is the one where we're deciding. So he definitely won't play the first two, but the discussion on the third one we just haven't quite had yet.
Yeah, smart of Saleh. Let Aaron speak for himself on this stuff because you don't need an unforced error like you did with the unexcused absence, excused absence, all that stuff. Just let Aaron talk for himself. He's not a rookie. He's, 19 years into this thing?
Wait. You're telling me the player should say, is he playing the coach has to say that.
But this is Rodgers.
No. I mean, specifically this. He's definitely not deciding. Wait, you're saying Rodgers gets to decide when he comes in and out of a training camp, of a preseason game?
Definitely.
I think the coaches always decide who plays in preseason.
Right. I understand that for 99% of the roster. I think Rodgers is clearly playing by a different set of rules. And I think that they trust him to know his body and what he needs. I think the same thing would have been true for Tom Brady in Tampa. I think it's just the respect that a veteran would get with a coach.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Regardless, so he's obviously not going to play now. Your question, will they have a slow start? I mean, a lot of guys aren't going to play, right? So I don't know. I tend to think like this is not a problem for the Jets. I did think that it's kind of stinks that he'll get his first live action in week 1. But that being said, I'm not going to ding them at all for not playing him. Like, do you think this is a problem as far as chemistry or all that?
No, I don't, because I think Rodgers is putting in the work in terms of, getting to know the teammates and all of that stuff. But there is just a reality of the schedule, which is a bit challenging for the Jets, no doubt. You start the season at San Francisco on Monday Night Football, so you're short week to go into another road game at Tennessee.
By the way, did they lost Rodgers in week 1 last year, and they won that game.
They did
Crazy.
win that game.
That's the only thing that makes me nervous for San Francisco is like, oh, watch out for the weird Jets win.
Yeah, with Tyrod Taylor as the backup now. So it's San Francisco, but then you're short week already at Tennessee. Then you get a little bit of a reprieve with the Patriots and the Denver Broncos, and then you get on a flight to go to Europe to play a game against the Vikings in London.
Well, I like everything I'm seeing right now. That's a pretty good run. I mean, you get JJ McCarthy in London. I think the Jets are going to eat that guy alive. Or Sam Darnold.
They might. I mean, those London games are always just weird, though.
That's true.
I hate betting them.
That's true.
Something always weird. I just think it's the beginning. There's probably not going to be a team. We know we talk about the Cowboys quite a bit, but there's not going to be a team more scrutinized in the beginning of the season, I think, than the New York Jets Aaron Rodgers team.
Wow,
So to get off to say they dropped their first two, I don't know, if they get off to a 2-3 start, a 3-2 start going into that Buffalo game, another Monday nighter.
I'm looking. I mean, yes, you say that, but it has to be the easiest first 8 weeks in the league. I mean, they have at San Francisco tough, but at Tennessee's way down there on the win total. New England's probably the second worst team in the league or worst team in the league. Denver's third worst team in the league. Minnesota's fifth worst team in the league. Buffalo's good. Pittsburgh has not got a high win total this year. And then New England again. So they get both their Patriots games early. I think that's a really good thing. Get a little momentum because you have to think people are going to be feeding off the Patriots this year.
Yeah, it's not looking great.
Yeah.
I mean, especially now with the news about Christian Barmore and he's dealing with blood clots. You got defensive guys like Matthew Judon who are upset with their contracts. The whole thing it's just going to be, I think, a tough transition out of the Belichick era. But for the Jets, listen, it's about Rodgers staying healthy, number one, first and foremost. And this travel schedule, to me, is, I think, what I'm looking at. You have a guy who is not going to play any preseason, it looks like, who's coming off this big injury at his advanced age. So he starts off the season on a short week with 2 road games. 2 games later, they're on a plane going to London. Like, I doubt anyone loves this from a scheduling standpoint to try to take care of that Achilles.
I hear you. I don't know. I can't imagine. I guess the home road, they do have, they have a run, 2 road games, 3 of the next 4 at home, then 2 road games. But who else who are you going to play? You don't have the Panthers on there. You don't have the Cardinals on there. Other than that, they have the Cardinals actually in week 9. This really couldn't be easier for Aaron Rodgers. I think if he's upright, they're at least going to be flirting with 500. I mean, there's no way this isn't going to work to some extent.
Well, listen, the thing I'm actually most concerned about, if I'm a Jets fan or if I'm the actual Jets, is that San Francisco defense. That first week, I'll tell you what, the offensive line for the Jets better get some preseason snaps in, because whether Rodgers does or not, this offensive line needs to be peaking week 1, because I don't want to see some of these pass rushers, and I don't want Nick Bosa getting free to Aaron Rodgers, because you can't expect that Rodgers is going to be moving exactly how he did before. And so if I've got pass rushers and I've got a 49ers defense that I think, we're talking about how they kind of fell off last year.
Yeah, which defense? Are you giving me the 2 years? Are you in a time machine and you're bringing back 2 years ago defense or last year's defense? Because last year's defense, if you block Bosa, you basically have 18 seconds back there.
Okay, but again, I think they've got a new defensive coordinator. I know they have a new defensive coordinator, and I'm sure they feel like this has got to become, again, one of the strengths of our team. And now you're going to get unleashed on a Jets offensive line that, while improved, was part of the problem last year. And a lot of people believe that if it hadn't happened 4 snaps into the season with Rodgers, it was only a matter of time before he really got crunched back there.
Yeah, and that's why I would hope that the coaching staff would be really careful. I do a lot of Breece Hall against the Niners, right? Just because if not, Rodgers is easing in. I honestly think this works out, Maggie. I think you rip the Band-Aid, you have a tough game against the Niners week 1, but then, man, you cannot ask for a better run than what they have.
Yeah, again, going to London is just a bummer, though.
Yeah, but you're playing the Vikings with either Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. If you have to go to London, I mean, this is a ripe situation for a W. Their defense should destroy that team. Brian Flores should be, I don't even think you need to put an offense. You put Tim Boyle in at quarterback, you're going to win that game. I think this is a great schedule for them. I think they're going to be totally fine if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. And by the way, Tyrod Taylor seems... he's the backup. That seems like an upgrade over what they kind of had going last year.
Zach Wilson.
I saw Giants Hard Knocks. They were talking about the backup quarterback, and they're like, we just can't afford Tyrod Taylor anymore. So, and you had him in Buffalo. He'll win you some games. He fits this team. It's going to be defense and running. I think that I think the schedule is good. Warren Sharp, who does the strength of schedule based on the Vegas odds, has the Jets as the 4th easiest overall schedule this year. So they have everything's lining up for. I mean, I think. The basement is 500, like the bottom. I think there's no way they don't eke out wins because they won a bunch of games last year with nobody at quarterback.
7-10, 855-212-4227 is the number to call. Asking you, I mean, is it possible that Jets getting off to a slow start? I mean, listen, you're able to overcome it. As long as Rodgers is healthy, you will be able to overcome it. But they might have the second easiest schedule, like when all is said and done.
Fourth easiest.
Excuse me, fourth easiest
Right.
when all is said and done. And you're looking at, on paper. I'm just looking at where do you start, which is San Francisco,
Right.
and then the travel schedule. It's a lot. And if a guy's not playing preseason at all, we think, then it caught our eye. EJ wants to weigh in. You're the Jets fan around here.
Actually, I 100% disagree. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL through 8 weeks. They definitely on paper have the easiest schedule. Travel, you guys are scared of London. Like, you got to go to London. That's what happens in this league. So I think they're going to be fine. Go ahead.
I
Sorry,
hate
go ahead,
when my
EJ.
team has to play in London. What's up, EJ?
No, I just feel like if this would be different, I think if Rodgers had played last season. If Rodgers plays some game last season, let's say he even gets hurt 3-4 weeks in the season. This is a guy who has not played almost for like 2 years at this point. That's what worries me as a Jets fan is if he had been playing and comfortable, that's one thing, but he has not played at all, didn't play last year. Now your first week, you're in San Francisco, then you have another road game, and then in
At
2
Tennessee.
weeks you're flying to London. I mean, I don't think Tennessee is a disaster. Like, I know you're down on them.
Well, I'm just
I
saying
think that they're respectable. Like, I don't think that's a Jets. You wake up and walk off the bus and you beat Tennessee on the road.
Tennessee
I
has the fourth lowest win total in the NFL. If the Titans aren't a disaster, then who is a disaster? I'm just saying, like, you on paper, like, that's who you want to play.
Oh yeah, I mean the Titans did beat Jacksonville late in the season last year. I mean they had some good wins last year, and they've done a lot in free agency.
Yeah.
And then that London trip, I know it's the Vikings again, another team that I'm not quite as down on as you. I think Sam Darnold, if he's still starting, might be a little bit of a threat. That's what concerns me. If Rodgers has been playing and comfortable, that's one thing. But him coming off of an Achilles, doing all this travel, trying to get his footing back, and now he's not going to play preseason. I just think the Jets might be susceptible to a 2-3 start. Doesn't mean the season's over, but that would put them behind the 8 ball.
855-212-4227. So are we fearing a slow start here for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? Maybe he should play a little preseason. And I'll tell you, I do think he gets to decide.
Yeah.
I think if he went to Robert Saleh and said, listen, I really need some snaps here in the preseason, Saleh would say, okay. I think the power dynamic in this team is Rodgers 1 and head coach 2. And I think Saleh knows that. Rodgers knows it. Everyone in the building understands that he's got a lot of power here. You are welcome to weigh in. Can I give you some update on the early poll results?
Sure.
Okay. At Maggie and Pearl on Twitter, or X rather. Are the Cowboys still America's team? 83% say no.
Right. What does that mean?
It means they don't have the title anymore.
Okay, show me some numbers that prove that.
Well, not everything's a math equation, Perloff. Sometimes you got to feel it.
Yeah, see, that's where I have problems. Like, just because people are saying they're not America's team, when 37 million watched them whoop the Giants in Week 7, like, what is that? So that people are ignoring that.
Well, that has a lot to do with the New York market.
There's always these excuses. There's like, people are
it's
following
reasons.
football in a different way. What about the streaming numbers? What about this? The Cowboys are must-watch TV, and nothing has changed about that. In fact, this year, when they're imploding because they don't know who their quarterback's going to be next year, they're going to double their ratings. It's going to be an explosion of cowboyness.
Maybe the first quarter of that game got a high rating when they played the Giants. Didn't they beat them 40-0?
Yeah, and still, it was like the 4th highest watched game of the year. I'll tell you, it's a Cowboy. There's numbers are numbers, Maggie.
Yeah,
they got a monster rating.
Who was watching after halftime?
I have no idea, but they still do.
Anyone who was live betting, I think that's our last people. Let's go to the phones. Rich is in California, wants to talk about the Jets. Good morning, Rich.
Yeah, I don't feel particularly sorry for the Jets. They knew what they were getting when they got Aaron Rodgers. He's a 40-year-old quarterback with long miles on those legs, a questionable Achilles, and maybe 1 or 2 bubbles shy of plumb. The fact of the matter is I pray that they have a really good backup quarterback because they're going to need him. I don't know that you can sit there and put an entire season on a guy who should probably be retired.
Well, Rich, not putting the season, more than happy to hand over the keys to the organization to Rodgers. I mean, it's more, the keys everything.
Well, you know what? Be careful what you wish for because you may end up getting it.
Yeah, well, you're right about that, Rich. Appreciate you weighing in. No, this is it. And they have Tyrod Taylor as a backup, and Tyrod's good, but he's also 34 and also injury prone. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, there's a reason why you saw the Giants last year have to go to Tommy DeVito. This is tough here for guys who are in their 30s.
Yeah.
So,
gosh, I'm obsessed with the Jets schedule. I had no idea what was going on here.
I don't think anyone feels bad for the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about that. Yeah, they definitely made their bed. They were more than happy to get Rodgers, I think, at almost any cost. I mean, they've been in the quarterback wilderness.
It's a great point. I think they won by getting Rodgers. They had to take, yes, they know the risk with an older injured quarterback. That's the game they had to play because they missed with Zach Wilson. That's just a fact. Did they draft another quarterback high? I know Darnold. They had Darnold. They missed with Darnold. So if you miss with the number 3 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick, yeah, you're desperate. I think they know they were desperate. Yeah, they didn't want Aaron Rodgers at 40. They'd rather have him at 30, but that wasn't available to them. Yeah, they're about to kick some butt. This schedule is amazing, Maggie. It's amazing. Just Aaron Rodgers, just stay upright, hand the ball off to Breece Hall. I like what you guys are saying. Like, yeah, it's a tough start with the travel, but that's why you protect Rodgers. As a coach, Maggie, if you were the coach of the Jets, wouldn't you be very conservative and sort of understand that he doesn't have a ramp up, so we're just going to hand the ball off a lot?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great defense. You do have this good run game, but now you do still have Aaron Rodgers. Like, you didn't bring him in to hand the ball off 35 times. That's what JJ McCarthy is going to be doing, not what Aaron Rodgers is going to do.
You have New England in week 3 with Jacoby Brissett starting. You do not need to have Aaron Rodgers throw the ball 45 times to win that game.
You better not. If you do, that's
conservative.
A bad sign.
Conservative. Stay conservative, Mag.
855-212-4227. If you want to watch the show, come on in. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and at Maggie Gray on X if you want to watch on that platform as well. You can listen to the show anywhere on the free Odyssey app. It's awesome, crystal clear, easy to download. Also, SiriusXM channel 158. Okay, a lot to do, including a little game we like to call Thumbs Up, Thumbs Down. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I came in this morning. I was hoping nobody brought up the sport of baseball because I hate it. It's cruel. It's mean. I watched my Phillies come back to tie the Yankees and blow it in extra innings. Ugh.
Because they stink.
There's nothing worse than losing a baseball game, Maggie. It's a slow, agonizing. It's not like football where, boom, it's over. Baseball is just a terrible water drip of defeat. But anyway, there was a lot of big moves yesterday. I know one team caught your eye big time.
Yeah, the LA Dodgers. I mean, you had Jack Flaherty, and that's just that amongst all the other guys and the depth pieces that they've added. Mm-hmm. I mean, how could you not say that it would be a massive disappointment if the Dodgers don't win the World Series? And I know they have guys on the IL all over the place, but I mean, you can't build a team that has more depth, more upside. They've got Shohei. They've got Mookie Betts will come back. Freddie Freeman will come back. I mean, it's star power. It's depth pieces. It's everything. If they don't win, this is a massive disappointment.
What's different about this year and every other year when they win 108 games?
Well, can we start holding the Dodgers' feet to the fire a little bit more?
In 2022, they won 111 regular season games and lost in the NLDS 3-1.
And I do not give them the 2020 title.
They lost.
60-game season for baseball is absolute just zero. It's nothing.
By the way, they got swept last year and they won 100 regular season games. Like, what are you talking about? Baseball makes no sense in the postseason. You can't hold anyone's feet to the fire because the Diamondbacks and the Rangers were in the World Series last year.
The Rangers actually had this massive payroll, and so it's not that crazy that they would have been in the World Series last year. It's just they surprised some people. I think that is totally letting these teams off the hook. The ones that really go in, all in, massive contract. Shohei Ohtani took $680 million deferred so that they could do stuff like this and keep this big team, and then to say, well, it's a crapshoot in the postseason. That is totally letting them off the hook.
Well, what are you supposed to do? I mean, I don't understand. Like the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, like you can't buy a World Series title anymore. I don't know why. You could, maybe you could do it at a certain point, but there were Dodgers teams where, remember when Bellinger was still good? I mean, they were just basically, you had 30 homers at every spot, and then you had 3 Cy Young pitchers. It doesn't matter. Something happens in the postseason. It's just a matter of staying healthy and getting hot. And that's why you can't hold their feet to the fire. You just can't, because everyone understands the game here.
You know what's remarkable?
What's that?
The Dodgers came into the season with about 4,000 starting pitchers.
I know.
All hurt, and they had to trade for a starting pitcher at the deadline. The Dodgers are the new incarnation of the 90s, 2000s Braves, but even worse because they're better. And they have not been able to figure it out in the postseason.
Yeah.
Put the 2021 championship aside. The spotlight's on Dave Roberts. He needs to capitalize, and they need to win either this year or next year or within the next 3 years, because to me, I've always criticized him because he has not been able to finish the job. They criticized Don Mattingly for doing the same thing. It should be on Dave Roberts as well.
Well, I was wondering, I love the Braves analogy because it's shocking to me that pitching staff only won one World Series. It feels more like the 2000s Yankees to me, where they just bought MVPs and Cy Youngs and spent all the money and got to some World Series and had success, but couldn't get over the top. Which one do you think is a better analogy, the Yankees or the Braves?
I think it's more like the Braves. I mean, the Yankees at least did win. I know the Dodgers won in 2020, but who was actually buying that title? That is, any baseball fan knows that's 100% Fugazi title. And if I'm a Dodger fan, even I'm like, I can't be proud of that title. I mean, I'm glad baseball gave us a little something to watch. I appreciated it, entertainment during the pandemic, but come on. That's nothing. We've seen teams get off to really good 60-game starts and it completely fall apart. It's just not real. We've been talking about the Jets and their schedule. They got to go to London to play the Vikings in week 5. So start in San Francisco. This is Aaron Rodgers, who is not going to be playing the preseason, we don't think. At San Francisco, then on the road at Tennessee. Then you get home a little reprieve against the Patriots and the Denver Broncos. And then, boom, on a flight to London to play the Vikings. Scott's in California. Hey, Scott.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear, bud. What's up?
All right. Hey, you were just mentioning the Vikings-Jets game and talking about Aaron Rodgers and how that's hard on him. But I was just wondering this. The Vikings are picked by by the way, it's great to hear you guys. I'm Scott from California, ardent Viking fan.
We remember,
Maggie.
Scott. So glad
There
you're
you
doing
go.
well.
Yeah, you too, guys. Congratulations on your success. It seems to be going really well.
Oh, thanks.
So I'm still going to be pulling for the Vikings. And here's my little beef with that. The London trip is going to happen week 5. Week 6 is the bye. That means 12 consecutive game weeks after that. And how do they decide? Now, the Vikings, I'm still going to pull for them. But how do they decide the Vikings take the hit for that being a home game in London? Guys,
I see it as
congratulations.
That's a Vikings home game?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, they both listed a verse on there. Yeah, I mean, but Scott, what's the difference? This is a rebuilding year. Do you have any expectations to be anything else?
No one uses the term rebuilding anymore. But you just said that JJ McCarthy is going to hand off like he did in Michigan, and probably what happened. But we got to see. They're professional football players. We got to see how they play the game. But I just want to know if they flip a coin for a home team on a foreign soil or how that works.
There's a formula to it, Scott. Thank you so much. Great to hear from you. Glad you're doing well. A big Vikings fan living in California, Scott is. There is a formula to it.
Right. The home and away is determined by a formula. Like, it has nothing to do. They're not like, oh, let's put these teams in London and then decide which one it is. They already knew. So the Vikings are home. So the Jets were always going to be a road team versus the Vikings. That has nothing to do with a decision that was made, right?
Yeah, and this is why this is why I think the Jacksonville Jaguars always get a real leg up here, because they play back-to-back weeks now in London. They choose to do this, yet only one of them counts as a home game. And so they're there, their bodies are acclimated, they get all the advantages of being in the same place for 2 weeks that your opponent doesn't, and that opponent loses a home game. Dexter Henry is here. He's got headlines for us. Hi.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hi.
On Tuesday, the Angels, we're going to talk some baseball. They said they're shutting down the rehab for star Mike Trout after a recent setback in his recovery from meniscus surgery. Now, Trout had surgery on May 3rd to repair a torn meniscus in his left knee, but he hasn't played more than 119 games in any of the past 5 seasons because of various injuries. It's unclear whether or not the 11-time All-Star will return this season. Guys, are we at the point when we're talking about Mike Trout where the injuries are starting to overshadow his career and the player that was once considered the best in the game?
Oh, without a doubt. I'm wondering, do we ever get back to peak Mike Trout for more than 3 months?
When was peak Mike Trout?
I didn't even. I don't think America even cared about. MVP? I don't think America could care less about peak Mike Trout, even when he was at peak. An injured Mike Trout is almost the same as a healthy Mike Trout because he's stuck with the Angels. That's the bigger problem here, and the fact that he's always hurt. Can we just get? I think it's just the bad mojo of that team, and for many reasons, is rubbing off on him.
I mean, why he stayed, though. I get why he stayed. They kept handing him boatloads and gobs of money.
They kept pulling up a truck
to
his house with dollar bills.
$500 million? Like, sure.
Even so, honestly, it is kind of a bummer historically that he's stuck there. Unless they do something radical, that team just can't win.
Yeah, this is like, you always felt for Ernie Banks and the guys who played on really terrible teams and you never got to see them with a lot of postseason success. It's the same thing.
Some days kids are going to look back and be like, wait, they had Shohei and Mike Trout on the same team?
Yeah, that's the thing. Going to look back and then be like, Mike Trout didn't play a lot of games for a whole bunch of time. You had Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, that's where you're going to look back. The history is not going to be as favorable for him, even though he was a great player. So it's very interesting.
Could have used him. He should have left and gone to the Phillies. The one chance he had, root for the Eagles. That's the only time we see Mike Trout is in the second row at the link, rooting for the Eagles. Honestly, this is kind of a wasted career. I feel terrible saying that, but it's a great career that we just don't get to enjoy.
Yeah, kind of have to agree. Let's go over to the NFL. The Vikings, they're moving forward in training camp, but what's going on with their quarterback situation? On Tuesday, head coach Kevin O'Connell, he gave an update.
We'll, at some point, see JJ, be consistently maybe getting a little bit more one reps there. But at the same time, I feel like Sam earned the right to take the bulk of those reps early on here without getting into depth charts and things like that. It's just a standpoint of how we need to practice, the comfort we're trying to build.
Okay, so right now, Sam Darnold's getting the majority of the first-team reps, and throughout the offseason, O'Connell, he's backed Darnold as the starter to open the season. Is Darnold starting the best move for the Vikes, or should it be JJ McCarthy and just go with the rookie here?
I just go with McCarthy to me. And it's not because I'm down on Darnold or anything like that. I'm just saying your expectations are, except for Scott in California, I think, who's the diehard bleeding Vikings purple. I think the expectations are muted this year. So it's not like you're throwing JJ McCarthy into this, cauldron of expectations or what have you. This real, tension-filled situation. I think he actually is going to get a little bit of time. And, Justin Jefferson got his money. I think everyone's relatively happy. And Kevin O'Connell, I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think drafting a quarterback buys him some time. And I think generally it's a good environment for a rookie to be walking into when you don't have any expectations or very little from at least the outside. So why not just start him?
Man, he's got some weapons there. What do you say, bro?
I definitely go Darnold. Because, partly because you just paid Justin Jefferson all this money. I actually want someone to throw him the football. I can't imagine that JJ McCarthy is going to do anything as a rookie.
Have you seen Sam Darnold throw a football?
I've seen Sam Darnold with some big games. He definitely got to throw a football. The question is, can he throw it to the right team consistently?
Is it going to be the front row?
I just feel like, you just paid all this money to Jefferson. You just got to have somebody who's going to hit him downfield. And I just cannot see JJ McCarthy doing that off the bat. First of all, McCarthy's not old like Penix and Jaden Daniels. He's 21 still.
Yeah, but he had a lot of experience.
He's thrown 19 passes in his entire life, Maggie.
I know, but I was told that the passes he did throw were amazing.
I don't know who told you that.
When I was down on McCarthy coming out of the draft, I was told, no, you've got to watch the third down throws. And every time he was asked to throw the ball, he looked like Joe Montana. So that's what I was told.
Jaden Daniels has thrown more left-handed passes in his college career than JJ McCarthy threw. No, I don't think that. I think this is a great opportunity to sit a guy and let him learn. And generally, teams do it different ways. Patrick Mahomes had a year. I think this is a sit situation. Also, you're the Vikings. You were 13-4 with not a great team a few years ago. You have O'Connell's a good coach. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. You could sneak some wins in here. I would go the veteran. I know, listen, you guys, there's some spurned Sam Darnold Jets fans here, but I think this is a situation to go veteran if I've ever seen one.
Well, my question is, you're going to sit and learn from a veteran. But Sam Darnold makes really silly mistakes.
Well, sit and learn just by watching the game, maybe not from Darnold. I think, you're not learning necessarily. You're not there to pick up from Darnold. You're there to pick up from Kevin O'Connell, see what an NFL game looks like, see how you run it, maybe like simulate the game in your mind. If you throw him out immediately, what's JJ McCarthy going to do with this team? Do you really have any expectation whatsoever?
Well, no, but that's why. It's like he doesn't. It's not like the offensive line is a disaster. You have one of the best left tackles in Christian Darrisaw, so you're not putting him out there with like a sieve where he's going to be, in a lot of danger. I think he's going to be able to protect himself. And in that case, I think that actually playing and throwing is going to be the best way for him to learn, not to watch Sam Darnold not be able to throw a 10-yard pass. Sorry, what else you got there?
No, that's good. All right, got another quarterback competition because coming into NFL training camp, there was one 3-person quarterback competition, and that was with the Denver Broncos. Well, now it appears to be down to 2 because during Tuesday's training camp practice, Jarrett Stidham took reps with the first-team offense despite it being Zach Wilson's turn in a rotation that also includes rookie Bo Nix, who received first-team work on Monday. When asked if Wilson would get any more opportunities with the first-team offense, head coach Sean Payton said, "We'll see." Mm-hmm. So, doesn't seem like it's a good look for Wilson, who likely has fallen behind Nix and Stidham with the preseason on the horizon. So, guys, who do you think? I don't think this is the most exciting competition, but who wins the Broncos QB competition?
No one.
By the way.
No one. Not the fans, anybody.
Wow.
Just the fact that Zach Wilson hung in the top 3 for that long is not a good thing.
Oh.
I think actually this is the opposite situation. I think Nix wins this one, even though I would start Stidham 10 times out of 10 for the same reasons I said start Sam Darnold. I think Nix, who's 100 years older than JJ McCarthy,
he's like the same age as Sam Darnold.
And it feels like, even though Auburn Bo Nix was not steady at all, I feel like Bo Nix is a little steadier, more predictable. We've seen it. We don't know with JJ McCarthy, so definitely Nix, in my opinion, gets out of here. And also, I've read that he's a big-time fan favorite. I don't know if Sean Payton cares about that, but I feel like Denver's going to be like, what are we doing with Jarrett Stidham?
I'm also in favor of starting Nix. He's in his mid-20s. I mean, let's see what you got. EJ, you had a thought on this?
I think you have to start Nix because, let's be real, the Broncos probably one of the worst teams in the NFL. You're going to have to know right now if Nix is your guy. Like Maggie said, he's older, and this is a draft that could have some more good quarterbacks potentially at the top. There's one guy who plays right in their backyard who could be maybe in the mix to be a top pick in Shedeur Sanders. If Nix doesn't look like the guy's rookie year, I would not be shocked if the Broncos go back in the well for another quarterback. That's why he had to start week 1.
Wow, that would be something if they did that. I mean, didn't they trade up to get Nix, if I'm remembering the draft correctly? They did trade up, right?
I thought they were sitting there.
I think he felt
Or did he felt them?
I think the Vikings had to move around for McCarthy.
Oh, it was the Vikings.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
So, my bad. So, okay, he falls to them, but you take a guy at 12, and then you might draft Shedeur over him at like 3 or 4 next year if you're that bad.
I think it's a bad quarterback draft next year. So I think that.
But if you love Shedeur, who cares
I
about
don't
the
know
rest
why.
of the class?
I mean, isn't Roger Goodell and everyone making sure that Shedeur goes to Dallas next year? Isn't that a fait accompli? How can he play in Denver and Dallas, EJ? I don't know.
One of those all-time QB things, like when you're playing in the backyard.
We had a caller yesterday who pitched that to us. Like, they're letting Dak go because Jerry. Oh, it was Dave. Because Jerry wants Shedeur there. I feel like that's a good argument with Denver being the backyard, but oh my God, America would be on the right track again if Shedeur Sanders had that star on his helmet and Deion was on the sideline. Let's go.
I mean, think about it. This would have to be like the last time we saw this was who? Josh Rosen?
Yep.
And I guess it's definitely worked out. I mean, Rosen totally flamed out of the league, so I guess it's definitely better that they have Kyler. It's just so rare. So rare.
I'm stunned. Nobody wants Zach Wilson's experience in a Broncos uniform.
He is by 100-fold the most starts out of that group.
He does?
Yeah.
I'm a big Stidham fan.
Look into those starts.
Yes.
How'd they go?
The Stidham's okay.
No, I'm talking about Wilson.
Sorry, Zach. Yeah. No, believe me, everyone knows that. He definitely, of those 3, I'll bet you he gets out there as the best arm. I'll bet you it's not even close. I mean, that guy can sling it. Once the game starts, though, just something goes totally haywire with him. But I think it's an interesting spot. Sean Payton, is he allowed to just have a free pass and have 5 wins this year? Their win total is 5.5. Is he really on a 5-year plan? Like, there's no 5-year plan in the NFL anymore. That's what I'm so confused about this whole thing. EJ says, draft another quarterback next year. That'll mean that this is Sean Payton's 3rd year and another quarterback. Like, does that work in today's NFL? That seems so strange to me.
He's got one thing going for him, which is they traded for him. So it's like the team invested just to get Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of power because George Payton, the general manager, I don't think has done a great job here.
No, he's had very few draft picks because he traded them all for Russell Wilson, and the ones he's had have not hit off yet. No, you're right. Sean Payton's, I think, the highest paid coach in any sport in America. He's $18 million a year, highest NFL coach. I think, not all coaches report. He's the single highest paid. But if he wins 5 games, I think we're going to kill Sean Payton.
Well, definitely should, especially if the quarterbacks look bad.
But why should he? He doesn't have any talent.
Well, but it's not zero talent.
It's zero talent.
Well, they took Bo Nix at 12 if he looks like he can play.
Pro Football Focus ranked him 32nd in the league in talent. That's as low as you can go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was the Wilson trade. And then they had to pay Wilson all his money this year.
And then he didn't get along with Wilson. That's the other part, too. It's like, I think if Wilson ends up having a good year with Dexter's Pittsburgh Steelers, it's going to make Peyton look even worse.
Wow. We are going to get to that later in the show. If Russell Wilson has a good year, will it be in Pittsburgh? Dun, dun, dun. I mean, honestly, Sean Payton, a lot of things are keeping him up at night. Russell Wilson balling out in Pittsburgh is not one of them. Maggie. Come on. That's not the thing.
855-212-4227. Dex, thanks so much. We will get into the Steelers quarterback competition in just a moment, but also we got to look at college because we've been neglecting these college football transfers, Pearl, and who's going to have the biggest impact this upcoming season. Sit tight. We're going to do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Get it with Snoop to your double chill. On the beat, Paris got a problem. Mickey Cully ain't discreet. Olympics coming fast, but the water's not neat. Gotta clean it up, make the competition sweet. Snoop's in the house and he's laying it down. In Paris where the river's supposed to wear the crown. But there's trouble in the water, yeah, it's going around. While Peter Buddy's on the sideline, I'm making a sound. Now Peter Bellotti ain't fazed by the fuss. While the city's in a hurry, he's missing the bus. Olympic fever high and everyone's a rush. Peter's laid back, in the calm, no crush. Athletes train hard, dreams big, they trust. While Peter's in his world, the side lives robust. Paris may hustle, sparkle and bust, but Peter Bellotti's mind is clear from Olympic dust. As the world tunes in for the gold, the glory, Peter's got other tales, another story. Not about the races or the podium's top. He's cool in the shadows where he doesn't flop. Back to Snoop, with a message so clear, trying to fix the waters before the Olympians cheer. Yet there's Peter Bellotti, sipping on his beer. Olympics might roar, but Peter just doesn't hear. In a sea famed for lights, art, and more, Peter Bellotti finds his beats not keeping the score. While rowers row and swimmers soar, Peter's vibe is different on his own shore. So as we close this rap, take it from Snoop. We're all in this game, in every group. But remember our man, Peter Bellotti, unique in the troop, marching to his beat in his own loop.
Pete Bellotti, you have any bad luck recently?
Let's go back to the
anything bad. When's your birthday again?
Let's go back to the fall of 2013.
The divorce papers were the ink was barely dry.
Saying I do.
And the Bogush had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogush boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast. but Andrew Bogusch grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead.
To the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst.
Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. So if you see a little league and laughter fills the air, look for Andrew Bogusch, you might find him there. With a grin and a wink, he'll raise a drink on high, playing ball with Jack's team under the summer sky.
Andrew Bogusch had a plan on a sunny afternoon.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Talk a lot of NFL around here. Let's get to some college, Perloff, because it's time to start getting excited, especially about certain transfers who may change the conversation landscape, whatever you want to say, for their college football team. Which transfer are you most excited to see in college football this year?
Okay, I'm going to go off the board.
Okay.
And I don't even know if he wins the starting job. But there's a kid named Taylor Green out of Boise State who went to Arkansas who's getting hooked up with Bobby Petrino.
Yep.
Bobby Petrino being back as the OC at Arkansas is crazy to me. And he's just a gigantic, incredibly fast runner. And I feel like he's going to, and I by the way, I did steal this from our famous Pick Six podcast friend. They were talking about him and talking about how this is just an incredible setup for success at Arkansas. It's obviously a crazy situation there with Sam Pittman being on the hot seat. He is 125,000. So he's 125 to 1 Heisman odds. And you know how transfers are. I think sometimes transfers come out of nowhere and surprise.
That's
so
true.
I'm throwing a $5 on that spot. We'll see.
I mean, I think he's starting.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to start. You never know. But he's not like one of the sure things like Cam Ward. But I think it's a really exciting. I love a tall, fast guy is always sort of a surprise. So I'm going to go with him. Yeah, I'm playing some of our affiliates here.
We love Arkansas.
But I just, it seems like an exciting opportunity. The SEC will get a lot of visibility. And Arkansas, they had KJ Jefferson. Remember we did the SEC quarterback draft a couple years ago?
Did.
We were all high on that guy to be great. But I think if you're doing a fantasy football draft for college football, he's an interesting guy. So that's the one I'm kind of keeping my eye on, though a little less obvious, a little under the radar.
Yeah, so Taylor Green for Arkansas, and funny, KJ Jackson now also in that quarterback room. So another KJ, which is just interesting. 4-star from Alabama, Montgomery. So if you're asking me about the transfer I'm most excited to see, it's got to be Dillon Gabriel at Oregon. I mean, we saw what happened when Bo Nix, who had all this experience playing at Auburn, then went to Oregon, took his career to the next level. Well, Dillon Gabriel is the next guy who was quarterback at UCF, then went to Oklahoma last year, or the last 2 years rather, and now goes to Oregon and could be the next great Dan Lanning quarterback.
Right, but when you say excitement, I mean, isn't there a little fatigue? I remember in 2008 when he was third in Heisman, 2014 when he was really good, 2019. How can you be excited? The guy's been playing college football for the large part of my life. He's in his 23rd year.
Well, there was some other really sad news that happened with Dylan Gabriel. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but unfortunately his puppy, 6 months old, had some kind of stomach ailment, and they had to put the dog to the Rainbow Bridge, as they say. And he was really emotional about it. I mean, this is like, now you can just play the season for the dog. You know, you got that extra motivation. I kid, but it's awful to lose a pet.
By the way, I'm a little scared. He's going to chase some of the Case Keenum all-time records because he's got 1 million touchdowns already.
And you're right, he's been playing forever.
He's had 5 seasons already. This is his 6th season.
What I'm most interested about the Dylan Gabriel thing is, could a guy who started at UCF and then went to Oklahoma, who's known to be a good college quarterback, does he go to Oregon and now become like this great pro prospect? Because now you're just an older guy playing against younger guys, you know? And this is some of the stuff we've talked about with some of these older QBs, and this comes up around draft time. Are they really this good, or have they just been around so much and they're playing against guys who are generally 19 and 20 years old? They just look a lot better, but they've already reached their ceiling. And I'm fascinated about Gabriel if he turns himself into this like first-round draft pick.
I would do a show bet he is not a first-round draft pick.
I don't see, and that'd be interesting too, because now you got Oregon going into the Big Ten, so you got a major change there, major transition. There is a lot to be very excited for and interested in with this Dylan Gabriel move.
Yeah,
and you've got Dante Moore behind him, by the way, from UCLA.
He's such a great college quarterback who doesn't seem to have a chance in the NFL. I mean, listen, there have been bigger surprises. He's obviously a Tua clone in so many different ways. I don't know if they went to the same high school, but they're from the same. They had the same coaches growing up, and he's got a hose, but he's just so short. So if, I just don't see him as an NFL prospect. I mean, then again, I never saw Bo Nix at Auburn as an NFL prospect. You get in the right system, maybe, and I think he's going to kill it in that offense. He's going to be great. I think he's a Heisman frontrunner right now. No, not a pro.
Interesting. I'm going to take you up on that show bet.
He's Kellen Moore.
I've got the duck suit ready to roll.
Will you really do that?
I will really wear the duck suit.
That first round.
I think he's going to go. He's definitely going to get drafted. Can I get the first round and a half?
No, I will bet he's not a first round pick.
All right, I'll take it. People love Oregon. Teams love Oregon. And there's not going to probably be a ton of quarterbacks, so he's going to get elevated in the process.
What are you talking about? Who are the other Oregon pros? You got Mariota. My guy Dennis Dixon got drafted in like the 4th round.
Justin Herbert.
Oh, Herbert. Yeah, that doesn't count. He's legit. I'm talking about these system quarterbacks at Oregon. Yeah, I don't know. Jeremiah Massola is playing somewhere in Canada right now. He was awesome.
Can I give you another transfer I'm very excited about? I generally am not a massive Notre Dame fan, but Riley Leonard is going to be interesting there. If he really can run like how he was at Duke before he got hurt, and he's this real dual threat quarterback, that's going to be interesting. You and I had Phil Steele, who does this great college football preview book magazine that he puts out every year. Notre Dame, very good, definitely a college football playoff team. And if Riley Leonard is healthy, this creates a whole new dynamic that the Sam Hartmans were never able to do. So this is going to be very fun.
I think Sam Hartman was a very good college quarterback.
No, he was good, but not this is the dual threatness was not his thing like
I
Leonard.
just worry about the health. I mean, 2 ankle surgeries, that's bad news. So
yeah, but this day and age,
I don't know.
With modern medicine, Pearl.
We were just talking about Mike Trout can't get on the field. I just feel like he had a second surgery this spring on his ankle. That's really scary to me. Feels like if he's going to be a mobile quarterback there, listen, anybody who has a great high school basketball YouTube reel like Riley Leonard, I'm all about. You know that.
That's always your tiebreaker.
And I was really into Duke football last year to watch. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'm just
Mike
nervous about
that was fun.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about his health there. And I hope he's good. Notre Dame has such a great opportunity to make the playoff this year because they have so much talent.
Do you know who's the offensive coordinator? It's not supposed to be a pop quiz, but the offensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish this year is Mike Denbrock, who was LSU's offensive coordinator last year. I mean, this is going to be some fun offense if he's healthy. That was explosive.
Notre Dame, you really think that they're going to open it up?
Well, that's what I'm excited to see. Let's see if we switch it up a little bit.
I would not count on that. I I don't know why. I'm just so ingrained in Notre Dame being kind of, like Notre Dame.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. We'll see. They probably will make the playoff this year, but it's one thing to make the playoff. It's another to win. I would not, if we're doing a fantasy draft again, I would not take Riley Leonard. His second ankle surgery was the end of March. Can he really be like fully fluid and mobile? You say that.
That's why this is different than Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins coming off these lower body injuries when they're 35 and 40.
Oh, so you're saying the age?
Yeah, come on. He's good. We're going to be okay here. I'm not a big Notre Dame fan, but I'm excited about this.
All right. We'll see. I'm definitely not putting my Heisman bet on that guy.
You and I now have a bet whether Dylan Gabriel will be a first-round pick.
Yeah, good thing, by the way, EJ couldn't chime in with Cam Ward. Listen.
From the home studio.
The Miami Hurricanes fan, don't pull up his mic because I'm claiming Cam Ward as my guy.
I like that Cam Ward, not intimidated at all by Shedeur Sanders, going back at him a little bit. Coming up, it's Wednesday. We do the great debate around here.
Had a plan on a sunny afternoon.
Wow, this is incredible. I always thought the most surreal part of my career would be the puffy shirt or the soup Nazi, but here I am accepting the Maggie and Perloff Best Sitcom Award. It's like my whole life has been leading up to this moment where a show about nothing turns into something quite special. Thank you. First off, a huge thanks to Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff. You guys rock the sports talk like nobody else, and now apparently you hand out awards to sitcoms. Who knew? This really is a show about nothing and everything, just like your radio segments. And let's not forget E.J. Stewart. Without your insights and laughs, this award wouldn't mean as much. I'd also like to thank the cast, the crew, and everyone who believed that a show about everyday quirks could resonate with so many people. It's been a wild ride with more ups and downs than Kramer's adventures in entrepreneurship. But let's talk about who I'm not thanking tonight. No thanks to Peter Bellotti. Pete, you know what you did. Or maybe you don't, which is exactly the problem. In all seriousness, to be recognized by such sports aficionados for a sitcom, it just tells you life is full of surprises. Here's to those who embrace the quirks, the laughter, and yes, even the yada, yada, yadas. Thank you, Maggie and Perloff, for this fantastic honor. Wow, this is incredible. I always thought the most surreal part of my career would be the puffy shirt or the soup Nazi, but here I am.
Believe Bellotti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie, Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free. He misses Mom. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out, boo, boo. Bring it back, oh can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right. Bellotti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Peter Bellotti, he made a prediction. Said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away. Won't own up to his words. Can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold.
In the world of sports talk, under digital skies.
"15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We got news out of training camp for you. We've got college football for you. Later on in the show, WWE World Heavyweight Champion Damien Priest will join the show. Just so much happening on this Wednesday version. Whoever says there's an off season for our business, I feel bad for that person because it sounds like an excuse. We run towards this stuff. Let's get to it. It's a Wednesday, Pete. It's time for the Great Debate.
The Great Debate Series.
All right, bro. You know what's happening later today, right?
No, what?
USA men's basketball.
Okay.
They are playing South Sudan. It's a team that they got taken to the wire on in an exhibition game. South Sudan hit 14 three-pointers. LeBron James had to save the U.S.'s bacon with a last-minute shot. So that's inspiring today's great debate.
Okay.
The question is about men's basketball at the Olympics, and here's the debate. Who do you got? And who would win in a matchup? The 1992 Dream Team or the 2008 Redeem Team? The 92 Dream Team or the 2008 Redeem Team? Who was the better team? You could go, who would win in a matchup against each other?
But just the fact that one's called the Dream Team and one's called the Redeem Team.
The Redeem Team is a great name.
I'm picking the Dream Team. The Redeem Team implies that there was something wrong with the team before.
There was.
Yeah. But just generally, if you just knew nothing about two teams, and you had one that was called Dream Team, which is presumably the best you can get, and one that's called the Redeem Team, you're going Dream Team every time. So I already won this battle because I'm going Dream Team.
Well, explain yourself. Just because of the name, there, you got to have more to your argument than that. I know you do.
I honestly, I feel like I don't even need to state my argument. Do you know who is on the Dream Team? The guy named Michael Jordan. So there, you've already won the game already. Jordan steps on that court. He's beating anybody on the Dream Team. But the other thing about this Dream Team, they had this is when, for some reason, there were 7-footers who could play back then. So you had Ewing and Robinson. So you had anything you wanted in the front court. You had as many wing players as you want because you have Scottie Pippen. You have Charles Barkley at his utmost peak, and he was a great international player. Like KD, he's just one of those guys who totally played his best in these exhibition games. And you had Clyde Drexler if you wanted him. So you were strong on the wings. You were insane up front. Basically, you had a couple older guys. Like Bird was post-back injury, but you didn't need to play him. I'm not sure Bird helps his team. Magic was kind of older, too, and I don't remember the timing of the Magic thing, but Magic was not in his prime anymore. But you don't need him at all. You have Jordan. You have incredible athletes all over the court. There's no way, to me, that special sauce is those centers. Why are there no centers like that anymore? Where are the Patrick Ewings and David Robinsons and Hakeems of my youth? So I don't know who you got up front in the Redeem Team, but we're kicking his butt.
I'm going to take the Redeem Team here, and I think what the Redeem Team did was honestly way more impressive than what the Dream Team did, if we want to go there, because the Redeem Team, first of all, USA Basketball at an all-time low. They had just come off of winning a bronze medal, which is actually interpreted as losing the gold medal.
Right.
They put together one of the most ferocious teams with Coach K at the helm. This is a Kobe, LeBron, Dwayne Wade situation.
Right.
To add in a little Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, and I'll give you Chris Bosh in his prime. And this is a 2008 team that went to China. And why I think the Redeem Team is the better team, and they actually were playing against actual competition.
Right.
When the Dream Team was in Barcelona in 92, okay, I'll give you Tony Kukoc and Vlade, but that's about it. I'm talking about an Olympics in 2008 that had the likes of Dirk Nowitzki also participating, Manu Ginobili also participating, Yao Ming also participating, the Gasol brothers, Pau and Mark obviously in the championship game. You had actual real pros, Andrew Bogut. You actually had real pros, other NBA players, tons of them, that were playing in the Olympics. So this was a much harder thing to do, and this took a bigger effort, quite frankly. And if you want to have Jordan, fine, but I'll give you the poo-poo platter combination of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. I mean, you want star power, I'm giving it to you, and you can take your Jordan and you can have your Charles Barkley. I'm giving you Kobe and LeBron. I mean, this is an all-time team that answered the bell when men's Olympic basketball was in the toilet.
That's so funny. The reason you're saying that the Redeem Team could beat the Dream Team is because of Pau Gasol. He wasn't even on the Redeem Team. That's how weak your argument is here.
No, I'm saying they had to play against better competition, not Algeria, who was getting smoked by 50 points.
I understand. Yeah, the Dream Team didn't play anybody, but if they had played anybody, they would have killed them because they had the all-time Mount Rushmore Hall of Famers everywhere. You had guys like, Chris Bosh playing real minutes. We had David Robinson.
This was peak Chris Bosh, by the way.
David Robinson. Are you telling me that Chris Bosh could handle the Admiral in his prime?
I'd love to see the Admiral go up against Pau Gasol.
Oh, yeah. He'd dunk on his head like 50 times in a row.
And I think Pau Gasol would also...
Pau Gasol?
Yes.
You think he's the same kind of player as David Robinson or Patrick Ewing?
I'm not trying to disrespect David Robinson and Patrick Ewing, but let's also not disrespect Pau Gasol.
I will. He's not in the same caliber player as Patrick Ewing and David Robinson.
Listen, I think that you...
That's not disrespect. That's facts.
You Jordan people act like there can be no other great team if Michael Jordan wasn't on it. And I think that's really doing a disservice to the Redeem Team because I know you love Kobe. I know you do.
I'm a huge Kobe fan, but I think the real question, if you took Jordan off the Dream Team, what are they? Are they favored by 10 or are they favored by 15?
Against the Redeem Team?
Against the Redeem Team.
No.
Because you still have, first of all, who's covering Carmelo on this team?
Carmelo is one of the great international basketball
covering
players.
Karl Malone. Karl Malone gets out there. He's going to shove all these skinny like Carmelo. Carmelo. Oh my God.
Melo's actually a bit like Durant and a bit like Barkley. He was this great, amazing international player.
I do admit LeBron's a bit of a problem. I'm not going to lie to you about that.
Yeah.
LeBron's a bit of a problem. I'm a little worried about LeBron, but everybody else we can totally neutralize. Kobe's going to miss a ton of shots. Kobe took a ton of shots, missed a ton of shots. I'm not worried about him.
Kobe is the reason they won the gold.
But he's not.
Dwayne Wade was having the Olympics of a lifetime, and it was Kobe who was the closer against Spain.
I saw Kobe shot 46% in the entire Olympics, which is unbelievable because everybody else was over 65%. I just think that there's so many problems. And like you're talking about really good players like Carmelo and Bosh and Dwight Howard. Those are really good players. The Dream Team was just filled with all-time players.
I forgot Dwight Howard. That's who's going to go up against Malone.
Oh, great. Good luck.
855-212-4227. The great debate today.
Howard has to play against the centers, by the way. And they're going to eat him alive.
2008 Redeem Team versus the 92 Dream Team. EJ, I know you're chomping at the bit to get in on this conversation. Who do you have?
I think I lean Dream Team. I think of this as a 7-game series. That's the best way. One game, any of these teams can win. But if you do a 7-game series, I say the Dream Team wins in 7. But I think, Perloff, you're underestimating, the bench and the three-point shooting. Because the Dream Team is going to be taking a lot of 2s. The Redeem Team is going to be taking 3s. So I do think Chris Bosh actually presents a huge problem.
Yeah.
For,
huge. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because
Chris Bosh could keep him away.
You love Patrick Ewing, you love Dave Robinson. How are they going to defend the paint when they're covering Chris Bosh's 3-point line? And how do you stop LeBron James going to the rim? So I think it will be close. I think the problem for the Redeem team would be Jordan. I think he's the X factor, obviously, and that would be the issue. I also think Magic Johnson. You undersold Magic. Magic was still a great player when he was on the Dream Team. He was runner-up to MVP his last year in the NBA. This was not like a Magic that was old and decrepit. Now, Larry Bird was. Larry Bird was, like, beat up at the back. So I'm not sure how much factor he is, but I think Magic and Jordan are the difference. That's why I go Dream Team.
How about Scotty, too, by the way?
But
Scotty, a great defender. He'd be great guarding LeBron. You said you had no answer for LeBron. Actually, Scotty may be the only guy on planet Earth who would have a prayer against a prime LeBron James.
Okay, but wouldn't Kobe also be D'ing up Jordan?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe's a good defender. I think his defense is a little overrated historically. I think especially at that point in his career. I would definitely take Michael Jordan 92 defense guarding Kobe over Kobe in 08 guarding a 92 Jordan.
Tayshaun Prince.
Okay. Pete, what
this is Michael Jordan.
Please help me out here. Help me out. I need a rational voice.
To even lean Dream Team and not say it's a blowout is just boggles my mind. Just anything that doesn't favor the Dream Team here, just I don't get it. Everybody on the Dream Team, including Chuck Daly, is in some type of Hall of Fame for basketball. It's no contest.
Pete, they had Coach K.
Yes.
For the Redeem team. It's not like it was, someone rolling out the balls here in the rec league.
Coach K was an assistant on the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Coach K, Lenny Wilkins was an assistant on the Dream Team. The Dream Team is the Dream Team for a reason. They would dominate this team. No questions asked.
The Redeem team had Darren Williams in their closing lineup. Darren Williams.
He was actually good then.
Darren Williams was good.
He was playing for the Jazz then. This is before he got to Brooklyn and stopped caring.
Talking about the 1992 Olympic men's basketball team. You're saying Darren Williams was good?
Well, how about
Clyde Drexler?
Perloff, how about Jason Kidd? What are you going to say about that?
Jason Kidd was half the player of some of these guys. I'm telling you, Jason Kidd couldn't even play offense. He was great in the NBA because he was just relentless at point guard, but I mean, Jason Kidd, I also do. I'm not sure. Was Jason Kidd in the closing lineup for the Redeem team? Probably not, but you have a lot of guards. Anyway.
Chris Paul and I think Jason Kidd actually was, but yes.
Anyway, I just think I think you guys are stretching. I don't even think that's the best, there's obviously better other Olympic teams too, I would imagine. The Redeem team is good. Is that the second best team of all time? EJ, you follow this really closely. Are there other great LeBron ones?
To me, I'll be honest. I think the 2012 team could beat the Dream Team. That would be, if I'm doing a debate of who would win in a matchup, because the 2012 team, that gives me a more prime Chris Paul, and that gives me Kevin Durant. And it gives me Kevin Durant.
You need some KD, Maggie.
No. This is the reason why, EJ, you said you can go with either 08 or 2012. And the reason why I didn't go with 2012 is because I know Perloff well enough that if Russell Westbrook is on the roster, he's going to zero in on Westbrook, and he's going to say no team with Russell Westbrook could ever be considered the great team. Am I wrong about that?
I did not know Westbrook was on that team, but yeah, that's
Thank you.
But I think was great on that team, though.
You
guys his defense energy, he added something to that team.
And
Melo was awesome on that team too.
And Melo's
those are two guys Perloff hates, but those are two guys that played well in that 2012 team.
Right, but if I'm going to go into this debate with Perloff, I've got to be coming with Kobe and LeBron. I can't be coming with Melo and Westbrook. And I know Pete would slice and dice that. And that, yes, KD is now like one of the great Olympic players of all time. Kobe was unreal in that Olympics. He was. And so was Dwayne Wade. They were both phenomenal in 2008.
EJ's right. That 2012 team would be the best chance for them to beat the Dream Team. But the Redeem team, no chance. No chance whatsoever. Not with Carlos Boozer on that roster. You have there's Hall of Famers all over the place on that Dream Team.
It feels like we're disrespecting like Karl Malone. I think this is even disrespectful to have as a debate.
Yeah.
I think it's like
you're disrespecting Kobe and LeBron.
I think it's a disrespect to the Dream Team, and even I think Maybe not LeBron because LeBron is LeBron, but if Kobe was with us, I think he would pick that dream team 10 times out of 10 because he worshipped Jordan, obviously.
The debate is how much of a blowout would it be? With those two teams. Guaranteed.
Here's one thing I think you guys are missing, though, because you guys keep saying blowout, blowout, blowout. The dream team is not blowing out the redeem team. These are close games. They're not 20 point, 30 point. Like the dream team, the games they were playing against, plumbers and farmers, that is not happening in this series. So you're talking about games that are within 15 points. Guess what? Some of these guys you're talking about aren't playing a lot. Like David Robinson coming off the bench is not playing 20 minutes. Karl Malone off the bench is not playing 20 minutes. Those guys are playing much shorter minutes. So you're talking about a shorter rotation for the dream season. Don't give me the 10th guy is better than the redeem team's 10th guy. That's irrelevant. You're talking about the top starting lineup and then 3 or 4 guys off the bench. Those guys playing in a competitive game, who wins? That is not a blowout.
The dream team.
I'm sorry.
They win.
Okay, that's fine. I agree.
They dominate. That's it. That's the argument.
They don't dominate.
Look at the roster.
I know, but Pete,
come on.
yes, look at the roster.
Am I on another planet? This is ridiculous. This is Hall of Famers all over the place.
So is the
They got Hall of
redeem
Famers?
team.
Yeah.
It's the
Not
same.
the whole team.
It's not the same. You said Chris Bosh and Darren Williams.
No, not true.
Chris
Christian
Bosh is
Laettner,
going to Hall of
not
Fame,
Hall
by the way. I think he is already.
Chris had later, but I mean, come on. Later was the symbolic
College basketball
puppy.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Anyway, later was only there because they needed one college player. But no. I mean, of the teams, I just think that you had all these guys, Barkley, Malone, Jordan. They were all at their utter peak. The timing of the dream team worked out pretty well. Like those guys were all at the height of their powers. Redeem team close too. I mean, the time maybe 2012 was probably a better version of some of those guys. But I mean, the dream team was a perfect storm of awesomeness.
Is 29-year-old Kobe Bryant not in his prime?
He's in his prime, but I'm just saying, like, you had peak Jordan. 92 was right in the middle of his first. So you had peak Barkley, you had peak Malone. EJ, thank you. Magic was close. You definitely had still peak. The big men were still super in their prime. Ewing was about to go to the finals. Like, this was like the timing of the dream team, except for Bird.
Yeah.
Everybody was like the height of their all-time power.
But I would also say you're creeping on peak LeBron James at 23 because he's been in the league since he was 18. So you have that. You also are doing peak Dwayne Wade, peak Kobe, peak Dwight Howard at 22.
Oh, God. That's who you got? He's just
Dwight
not
Howard.
skilled.
No, I'm not doing that, bro.
For sure. Jason Kidd at 35 had more in his bag at that time. And again, I like EJ's point, which is you're just going really top for top here. You want to talk about Carlos Boozer, okay, that's fine, but he's not that's not going to be what makes or breaks a game against the dream team. And Melo is also 24.
You can talk about the minute breakdown and whatever have you, right? If you go 8-on-8, their 8 best players are not the dream team's 8 best players. Sorry, it's not the case.
855-212-4227. There you go. That's the great debate for Wednesday, inspired by Team USA playing against South Sudan today. Who was the better team? Dream team, redeem team?
But I'm gonna lose it. Pete is yelling in my ear after he's yelling at this, and he's dead right.
Come on.
Well, you can go to our poll and vote. Actually, I don't want to put this one up as a poll because
It's
already been done.
All right, it's
Please
up.
put
Fine.
it up.
Okay, fine. This is one though where the Jordan people love to come out.
Jordan people, even Jordan people. Like, that's like saying I'm an Olympic fan. I'm a Michael Phelps person. Yeah, everybody's a Jordan person, even if you don't like Jordan. What are Jordan people? What does that even mean? I hear you say that a lot.
It means that he never missed a shot.
Fact.
He never lost a playoff series. Never came up short. That's the Jordan people.
Okay.
I love and respect
That's
Jordan
like saying,
as well, but I don't make him into a god that never missed.
Oh, he is. I'm sorry. Jordan is a god.
Jordan's
a god.
Then LeBron's a god too.
He is a god too. That's all. I'm not arguing that either. But you know what? Jordan is Jordan for a reason.
Yeah, a mere mortal can't switch hands in midair like that in the first finals. Like, this is Michael Jordan.
I tried it. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Pete tried. But yeah, it's like saying, like, I'm a boxing fan. You're an Ali guy. Yeah, everybody's an Ali guy. Come on. There aren't Jordan people. They're basketball people. And that's why Dream Team dominates, because Michael Jordan is on that team.
Listen, the switching hand things now, that's like standard fare. Like, Ja Morant had to do that in 10th grade now.
Yeah, when Jordan did it, it was awesome, though.
855-212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in. That's the great debate for this Wednesday. Again, we have lots and lots of football to get back to. You are going to want to be around when we talk about what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation. It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, I got a question for you guys. Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get back to NFL training camp and stuff in just a moment, but I saw this story about a couple who were scuba diving in the Gulf of Mexico, and they became lost at sea. So they spent nearly 2 days in the water, lost at sea, before they were rescued and eventually brought to shore. So this has like a really happy ending. This could have been terrible, but the couple were found and they went, and now they're fine. It's Nathan and Kim Maker. They're from Oklahoma, spent nearly 2 days floating, lost in the Gulf of Mexico last week. And they were saved and got to finish off, I guess, like a vacation in Houston. The first thing they ate after being lost at sea for 2 days, pastrami sandwich and a black and white cookie?
That sounds pretty yummy.
Who supplied that to them?
Well, a deli.
I feel like
Ken
that was
and
not a
Ziggy's
choice.
Delicatessen Restaurant and Bakery in Houston. You're lost at sea for 2 days. You finally get rescued. A miracle. You haven't eaten in 48 hours. Probably thinking about food might be the one thing to keep you alive, because you can be like, all right, obviously you're hungry. You got to talk about it. The first thing you're eating is a pastrami sandwich? I can't with that.
Well, that might be the first thing they could eat.
No, they planned it. Like while they're in the water, they're talking about what they're going to eat, and they apparently can't get pastrami sandwiches and black and white cookies in Oklahoma. Said, yeah, I wanted to eat a black and white cookie like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Like, wait a minute, what?
So I didn't think it was planned. I assumed that so this was a choice?
Yeah,
That's
it was a choice.
Wow.
I get it. I mean,
they live in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's a suburb north of Oklahoma City, and they don't have like Jewish deli food. And apparently that's what they wanted, a pastrami sandwich. If I'm lost at sea for 2 days, I can't go pastrami sandwich. The bread could be stale. The meat could be dry. Like, don't you have to if I'm lost at sea, I'm going like double cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger, fries. Like, I need something that's a little bit more consistent. Like, I know I'm going to get a good one of these.
148-ounce steak.
I'm going with a steak. That's what I would go with.
Yeah, how about surf and turf?
Surf and turf. Yeah, I could rock with that.
But it feels like, I think, Maggie, we're all confused. Like, there are extenuing circumstances here. Like,
no, this is their choice.
Yeah, I know
You're in Houston. You could have barbecue. You could do whatever.
I thought you said they were in. Where are they?
They got rescued in the Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, and they landed in Houston.
Yes. And the first thing they got was a pastrami sandwich and a black and white cookie?
The only thing that changes it a little bit for me is what you had said, Maggie, about the fact that they hadn't, maybe they've been craving this for a long time. They couldn't find any Jewish delicatessens in where they were in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but why would Houston have good Jewish delicatessen?
Well, apparently there's this place here. I don't know.
And then they found one in Houston. Yeah.
Big risk. Big risk.
I agree.
I can't imagine. I'd eat a whole pizza. I would eat, as I said, a double bacon cheeseburger. I would eat, you guys said steak. Fine. Maybe I go straight to an ice cream sundae. Maybe I am, really getting my hands on a rack of ribs.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, bacon, egg, sure. You want to have breakfast? Fine. A pastrami sandwich?
Now I want a pastrami sandwich. I'm not a pastrami fan.
Katz's Deli.
Well,
you
we
down
live in New York,
You
so
want to
you
go
can
after
get
the show?
one. By the way, the line there is crazy. The Instagrammers got a hold of that place, and it's
I'll hop on
over.
the line now.
Also, my place, Junior's, does an incredible pastrami sandwich when you're I guess, like, when you're thirsty, your body craves salt.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's where the pastrami urge came from.
I put out to the audience, like, you're afloat at sea for 2 days. The first thing you get out of the water, you're getting a pastrami on rye? I don't know.
At least not a salad.
I'm watching my weight.
Right.
Yeah.
At least they're going meats and salt and whatnot. All right.
Yeah.
It's
No, an
not that
avocado
bad.
toast for me, please.
A little tomato, too.
Yeah. Just some lentils, really. Just trying to keep it light. Dexter.
What is it? Wedding day soup? What is it called? I forget it. The soup.
Italian wedding?
Italian wedding soup. Wedding day soup. Yeah, that.
A French onion I could see. It's a little heartier.
In the big bowl? Mm-hmm. Big bread bowl.
With the cheese on top. Maybe a clam chowder. The soup could make it on. But again, you haven't eaten in 2 days.
Yeah, I'm not going with soup. No judgment anybody out there who wants soup. It's fine.
Especially not some kind of like bouillabaisse. It'd have to be a creamy, thicker soup.
A creamy, thicker soup.
Yeah, like a lobster bisque.
Or potato type soup.
Yeah, something a little heavier.
2 days at sea. Pastrami sandwich is the first thing they ate coming out.
But I wonder, one last thing I'll say is, I wonder if as they were at sea, they talked about it and said, hey, look, we haven't had a good pastrami sandwich in a long time. We don't know if we're going to survive this. We're done. We're going to get that pastrami sandwich. We've been putting it off for too long. I wonder if that was a little bit of the motivation there.
Think about how good that pastrami sandwich is going to taste once we get out of here. I get having a goal. You got to keep yourself alive here, keep your spirits up.
Right. Did they say if it was good or not? Like, were they disappointed with the pastrami?
No, I think they're alive.
They're alive, so that's the most important thing. Yes.
Yeah, imagine if they got it like, could have been better.
Could have been better.
A little fatty. What do we got next?
All right, here's what we got. We've got more people who are not happy. Seems to be a little bit of a theme today.
Welcome to America.
Yeah. Tennessee Titans star defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, he's not happy with a radio host, and he let it be known while the host was on the air after Tuesday's Titans training camp session. So the host is 104.5 The Zone's Buck Reesing, and he was trying to get Titans cornerback Roger McCreary on the air for an interview, and then, guys, this happened.
Well, Jeff, you want to sit down? We can talk whenever you want to talk. Jeff, we'll deal with that later. Roger McCreary sitting down with us here on 104.5 The Zone. Jeff, we're on the air right now.
I don't care. You do a lot of talking on social media.
I'm right here, Jeff. We can talk anytime you want to. Unbelievable.
We got to make that happen.
Well, we'll deal with that later on.
I don't know if they dealt with it later on, but my favorite part of that was, I don't care. You do a lot of talking on social media, and he let it be known. So here's the thing that I think is not a good look. Simmons was also seen in a training camp fight on Tuesday, where he was spotted swinging at rookie offensive lineman J.C. Latham, and Reesing, he did what he does. He took right to social media, and he tweeted about it. So, guys, is this a good look for Simmons? And are you interested in a potential on-air sit-down between the two parties here?
Do athletes realize this helps the media person?
Yeah, it does not help the athlete here, right?
It doesn't.
Yeah, no.
It definitely doesn't. I don't think. This only helps the radio host, because it's like when Kevin Durant claps back at anybody on social media. It's like, you've given this more credence than anyone. Like, you've put your stardom to it. You've actually now said that this is basically legit. Yeah, EJ.
Also, the thing about this that is weird is, like, he literally is saying, hey, if you want to talk to me, come say this to my face. And the guy who's saying you talk on social media won't talk to him. Like, I don't like he had his moment right there to be like, you said this about me, you're wrong. You said that about me, you're a clown. And instead, he's the one off mic yelling, going into the locker room and not wanting to embrace this guy. So he's trying to paint the radio host as a social media warrior. But the guy is standing 10 toes down saying, I'm here. Say whatever you got. Let's go. And then Jeffrey Simmons doesn't actually sit down and talk. So I think he looks even worse. Not only does he bring attention to it, but the guy he claims is a social media guy looks kind of tough here.
Yeah.
Okay, all that's true. I understand what your points, but aren't you kind of psyched if you're a Titans fan? Like, Jeffrey Simmons has been there a little while now, kind of toiled in anonymity. He still gets so mad. Like, I want my defensive lineman to be furious at the host who criticize him. I want him swinging at J.C. Latham. This is a good sign. Like, Jeffrey Simmons has kind of been spinning his wheels. A great player who hasn't really done anything. Yes, he is still as engaged as ever. Like, I kind of take that as a positive. I know, listen, it's not ideal to curse out the host on that, but it does say, like, I'm like, man, if I'm a Titans fan, like, ooh, here comes Jeffrey Simmons, and he's a tough player.
Well, I think there's a reason why they've offed a lot of guys from the Titans and kept him.
Yeah,
like a lot of trade deadlines, a lot of moments when they probably could have gotten a pretty good return for Simmons, and they haven't done it. So clearly they like what he's bringing.
Yeah.
Is he tough if he wouldn't confront the host? Like, is he really tough, though?
I don't, Dexter, why are you talking trash? You want Jeffrey Simmons yelling at us?
I'm not saying I want the smoke. I'm just saying he, like EJ said, he had the chance to talk to the host, and he did not.
Well, my question with this is the host. Was Simmons coming off the field off the practice field, going into the locker room,
It
and
appeared
not
that way.
scheduled to be on the show?
Yes, he was
not scheduled to be on the
Okay,
show.
so he got him at a time where he's just getting out of practice. I think it is something to be said to that.
Yeah, it's probably 1,000 degrees in Nashville. Everyone's
Right.
hot. It's humid. You get grumpy in the humidity.
Listen, we're about to have Damien Priest on a little bit later in the show, WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Guys, you got to set it up. I'm not saying this is fake. Sorry, not the F word, that this is scripted. I'm saying this is real, but you got to build to it a little bit. You know, if the best thing that happened for the radio show is that Simmons did not sit down, and now you get to build it up. And when do we finally get the big sit down?
It's good for the show.
No doubt.
I'm just saying, like, hey, for at least the player standpoint, in terms of, hey,
kind of
give him a break.
Give him right. It was like a little bit of a drive-by.
Right. It was like,
I see you.
I see you. I'm going to say this, and you're going to look bad regardless.
The other thing, too, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is kind of an interior lineman kind of guy. He's not like even a pure pass rusher. He's not a high-profile guy. I don't think.
I thought you were about to say you don't think you can take him out.
Like you're saying,
I don't know.
You're saying this is not good for the host. It's not like he's getting in a fight with Joe Burrow or something. There's like, obviously, you want.
No, this
of
is
course,
great for the host.
It's great for the host, but I think it's somewhat like this is as low-profile NFL class. I mean, the Titans are as low-profile team as there is. Jeffrey Simmons is probably their best player, and he's an interior defensive lineman or defensive end in 3-4, whatever. Like, this just like, I don't know. I don't think the host is going to become world famous because of getting in a fight with Jeffrey Simmons. It's not a Jim Rome going after Jim Everett, calling him
The
Chrissy
old-timer.
Everett. Yeah. I just think like this is like Titans camp, right? Like
Also,
this is low profile as you get.
Jim and Chris, that did happen. I mean, Jim Rome and Everett, that did happen face to face.
Yeah, that was face to face.
All-time great moment. Jim's such a legend for that. What else do you have, Dex?
By the way, I'm rooting for Simmons now. The host is probably fine, but like that's who I want him on my team now. Guy is going to be so crazy. He's going to yell at the host off air from off mic. Don't you want your? I mean, could the Bills use that guy?
Sure. Yeah.
Simmons is.
You know, I've been on the air, though. We were talking earlier this week about interviews that kind of went wrong. I've been on the air when it's gotten really tense between a host and an athlete. And it wasn't me, actually. I can tell a story from someone else who I used to work with where Charles Haley was like really kind of misinterpreting something my former co-host Chris Carlin was trying to say. And it got intense for a moment to the point where we had to like diffuse the situation. So those moments, they can happen, and they can happen quick. And obviously, Charles Haley is
The most famous hothead in the history of the NFL. I mean,
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And so you're never really sure what's going to happen with him. And
I would take that guy on my team in 2 seconds. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Charles Haley.
He was long retired at this point, but
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was
I was going to say,
moment.
how did the time work out with Chris and Charles? Like Charles Haley, exactly. That's who you want running after the quarterback. Somebody crazy enough to go after a radio host.
the thing is, Carlin was he was not saying anything to antagonize him. It was just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's that's exact. You know, now that you think about it, I want my defensive linemen to be attacking hosts left and right, and just like because they're just like get the quarterback. That mentality, it's all good.
All right, guys. So the Olympic triathlon started today, and athletes dove into the Seine River to swim after days of delays and uncertainty over water quality concerns. So this was a big win for Paris, Olympic organizers, and the athletes. And if you remember, I talked about this a bit before here on the show, where officials undertook an ambitious plan, including $1.5 billion in infrastructure improvements to clean up the long-polluted river. Now, here's the thing. Officials have maintained that the water was clean to swim in for the triathlon and marathon swimming. However, it rained early this morning, and organizers said early Wednesday that the latest tests showed compliance with quality standards, but early morning rain could have altered those figures. So the concern is elevated levels of bacteria with runoff water going into the river. That pushed the men's race that was planned for Tuesday to Wednesday, and the women's competition was scheduled then. But since Sunday, here's the thing, guys. Organizers announced cancellations or postponements, but they did not publicly release the data levels of E. coli and other bacteria that contributed to their decision. So here's my question to everyone. Are you buying that the Seine River is safe to swim in for these Olympic athletes?
Oh, God, no.
Back to you.
No. And the fact that you have to swim through this poop water to try to win a medal is just wrong. I mean, I get it. There's obstacles in life. This should not be one of them. We're just swimming with hazardous material.
Yeah, your clothes shouldn't burn off when you get out of the water.
You have the third eye when you're walking out of the sludge. The other thing, too, tell me if you guys were thinking about this. Maybe this is a bit of a stereotype still about people in France that they smoke a lot of cigarettes. I don't know if that's still true, but I was just thinking about the water just swimming through cigarette butts.
I didn't think about that, but now I will. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not
probably
sure.
least of your concerns if it's just between cigarette butts and E. coli, but still gross.
Get me now thinking about that pastrami sandwich. That's a good way to do
When you get done with the triathlon, just head to get your nearest pastrami sandwich.
We should remember the mayor of Paris did go swimming in the water before these Olympic Games, saying that it was safe. But
politicians do really low things.
Yes, yes, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
So,
Be politicians.
Yeah, right. That's what separates them from us.
I don't know what the cost would be. I don't think I'm swimming in the Seine River. I think
This is triathlon. France this is the worst thing. It keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. We've been talking about this thing for 2 months, and they never solved it, and somehow they've made it worse.
Cap is in the chat saying safe enough. Oh, God. Yeah, that's not the bar. Should not be safe enough. Great point. Here's another question. I don't know if Olympic athletes sign a waiver. So, say you're a triathlete and you are swimming through E. coli poop water and you get sick. Do you get to sue the city? The Olympics? I'm assuming you signed some kind of waiver.
No chance I am signing anything whatsoever.
You might not be able to compete.
Then I'm not competing.
By the way, I have no idea if you sign a waiver. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's a good
They
question.
should have the hazmat suit triathlon.
Swimming in the suit?
Yeah.
Might slow you down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting race and everyone would be safe, you see? Solutions.
That is
Imagine you open your mouth and get like a big of water in there. Blah.
That's got to be the worst. Okay. All right, let's move on.
They're probably wondering, I was like, man, I could have been an archer. Why didn't I go into
or a runner?
Yeah, just a running. Why do I have to bike and swim? I could have been breakdancing right now, and instead I'm swimming with the E. coli.
That's right. You could have been like the 12th man on the
Redeem team.
The Redeem team.
All right, guys.
Dex, we're out of time. Hold that until next hour. Coming up, we have more updates for you on what's going on with the Cowboys. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Up straight out of Parasine. Got a kick back, listen up straight out of Parasine. Got a little drama with E. coli in the same. Olympics rolling up, athletes ready to splash. But the water's got issues, gotta handle it fast. In the city of lights, where the river flows, gotta clean it up before the whole world knows. E. coli creeping in the water they grow. Paris in the spotlight, let's clean the show. From the bridges to the banks, the problem's getting told. Not just a local thing, it's silver, bronze, and gold. Athletes training hard, coming from every land. But they need that water pure when they swim or they stand. Snoop Double G, I'm here in Paris streets. Talk about the river where the city meets the beats. Gotta fix it quick before the games commence. Keep the spirits high and the athletes intense. So here's to clear waters by the time we start. To every competitor playing their part. Let the games be safe, let the waters be clean. Cheers to Paris, make it fit for a queen. In the city of lights, where the river flows. Gotta clean it up before the whole world knows. E. coli creep. I'm kicking with Snoop, Double G on the beat. Paris got a problem, E. coli ain't discreet. Olympics coming fast, but the water's not neat. Gotta clean it up, make the competition sweet. Snoop's in the house and he's laying it down. In Paris where the river's supposed to wear the crown. But there's trouble in the water, yeah, it's going around. While Peter Pilotti's on the sideline, I'm making a sign out. Peter Pillotti ain't fazed by the fuss. While the city's in a hurry, he's missing the bus. Olympic fever high, and everyone's a rush. Peter's laid back in the calm, no crush. Athletes train hard, dreams big, they trust. While Peter's in his world, the silence robust. Paris may hustle, sparkle and bust, but Peter Pilotti's mind is clear from Olympic dust. As the world tunes in for the gold, the glory, Peter's got other tales, another story. Not about the races or the podium's top. He's cool in the shadows where he doesn't flop. Back to Snoop, with a message so clear, trying to fix the waters before the Olympians cheer. Yet there's Peter Pillotti, sipping on his beer. Olympics might roar, but Peter just doesn't hear. In a city famed for lights, art, and more, Peter Pillotti finds his peace, not keeping the score. While rowers row and swimmers soar, Peter's vibe is different on his own shore. So as we close this rap, take it from Snoop, we're all in this game, in every group. But remember our man Peter Pillotti, unique in the truth, marching through his beat in his own loop. Get it with Snoop to your double chill. On the beat, Paris got a problem. Mickey Cully ain't discreet. Olympics coming fast, but the water's not neat. Gotta clean it up, make the competition sweet. Snoop's in the house and he's laying it down. In Paris where the river's supposed to wear the crown. But there's trouble in the water, yeah, it's going around. While Peter Buddy's on the sideline, I'm making a sound. Now Peter Bellotti ain't fazed by the fuss. While the city's in a hurry, he's missing the bus. Olympic fever high and everyone's a rush. Peter's laid back, in the calm, no crush. Athletes train hard, dreams big, they trust. While Peter's in his world, the silence robust. Paris may hustle, sparkle and bust, but Peter Bellotti's mind is clear from Olympic dust. As the world tunes in for the gold, the glory, Peter's got other tales, another story. Not about the races or the podium's top. He's cool in the shadows where he doesn't fly. Back to Snoop, with a message so clear, trying to fix the waters before the Olympians cheer. Yet there's Peter Bellotti sipping on his beer. Olympics might roar, but Peter just doesn't care. In a city famed for lights, art, and more, Peter Bellotti finds his beats not keeping the score. While rowers row and swimmers soar, Peter's vibe is different on his own shore. So as we close this rap, take it from Snoop. We're all in this game, in every group. But remember our man, Peter Bellotti, unique in the truth, marching to his beat in his own loop.
45 seconds remaining. Uh, 30 seconds remaining. Tequila. Fifteen seconds.
I apologize for that one right there.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Cracks us up all day, we call him wrong, but he's always right, okay. Oh, Robin, our witty friend from the start until the end. In the comments, you're a sight, cheering us on, wrong or right.
Got some poll results for you throughout the morning.
All right.
Good morning, by the way. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. And a lot of, usually this doesn't happen, a lot of very lopsided polls this morning. So I'll take it from the most recent. Today's great debate, who would win in a 7-game series, the dream team and the redeem team? Not looking good for Kobe and LeBron. The dream team's winning 89% to 11% there.
I told you.
Pete, you did tell.
Yes.
Another poll. Who's the greatest Olympian in the last 25 years? Michael Phelps.
Yeah, I mean, what is with Phelps winning all these rankings?
Very Phelpsian-like race here, where he's way out in front, 77% over Usain Bolt and Simone Biles. And then finally, another lopsided poll. Are the Cowboys still America's team? 83% say no.
Well, I put my own poll on the Cowboys. Big show debate. Will Cowboys fall off their perch as the most watched team in the NFL next season? 58% say no, they will not fall. I don't care about America's team. Will they get the highest ratings? The answer is yes.
Well, okay, but that poll's way closer.
Well, I know, because I double negative it and nobody understood. Because I said anyone who says no is out of their mind. And 3 people pointed out, but you want them to say no, but you're saying, anyway, it got all confusing. The responses are interesting. People said the Lions. A lot of people are like, the Lions are the new America's team. A few Chiefs. But a lot of people said Cowboys implosion would be the one must-watch thing in next season.
Yeah, it depends how, though. Like, if it's an implosion because Dak gets hurt or Michael Parsons gets hurt, it's not going to be – that's not interesting to watch. That's just stinks.
Generally, controversy sells, though. So being awesome sells, too, with the Chiefs. But I think they needed Taylor Swift to get them over the top. You can't just win and be compelling. You can, but you have to have something go wrong. I think – yeah, Chris Gonzalez says the Cowboys could go 0-17 and still have the most viewed games in the NFL. It's probably true. I don't know why. And again, does that make them America's team? That's a different question. And I think you have some really good points. They were America's team in the 70s because they were winning Super Bowls. That's when it all started, right? That's not the why. It's a different kind of America.
And again, in the 90s, like reinforcing it for that next generation. It's like if your dad was watching in the 70s and then you're watching them in the 90s, it's like you can bond over both watching your team win titles. That solidifies a lot. Now you're here in the 2020s.
But I don't think
they're
those
just not winning.
There are other teams who've had title runs that didn't become. America's team was in the 70s, and you got that. I don't think the 90s team was. That's called the 90s Cowboys, the bad boy Cowboys. For example, what's the best? Oh, there've been a ton of documentaries this offseason, right? The best one has been about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I've heard so many people talk about it. It's unbelievable. It's the Cowboys still find a way to top receiver and Hard Knocks. You got to watch this Cowboys cheerleader thing. I heard Tony Reali talking about it the other day. You become obsessed with this unit. It's an incredible story.
Well, but think about who that really is catered towards. No disrespect to Reali or to you.
Yeah.
That's for a female audience, is it not? I mean, this is what the Chiefs are doing with Taylor Swift, getting new fans who are women. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are attempting. You don't set out to make a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Will they make the team? Will they not make the team? Not like, oh, we're just watching you parade around with a little clothing on. That would be for men. This is, are you making a dance team or are you not making a dance team? That's for women.
I guess it is, but I got to tell you, every man I talk to who's watched it, it's totally fascinating. You see a lot about the way the Cowboys are structured, too, like the front office. There's a lot going on there, and it's got some Jerry in it. There's
of course it does. Everything's got Jerry in it, which is why a lot of people think they'll never win again.
There's just something more interesting about the way the Cowboys do everything. It's so unexpected and bizarre, like just a well-oiled machine like the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick. Yeah, they go out there and they win football games. Give me something better, man. Give me some drama.
Jerry. I mean, the Patriots, definitely their drama is just a very different kind. But here's the thing about the Cowboys. We're talking about whether or not they're America's team, and you can weigh in at 855-212-4227. They also obviously have this outstanding question of will they or won't they with Dak Prescott. It's almost become like a reality TV show. Will they or won't they sign him to a contract? Will he or won't he be the quarterback of the Cowboys next year? The question here is, if they do sign him to a longer-term deal, like 3 years, 4 years, whatever, can they win it all with him? And that's ultimately the only thing that matters. Like, if you are signing him up to be your quarterback, you have to assume you can win a Super Bowl with him. And I believe you can. You can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. You haven't yet, but can you? Yes, you can. He is a good enough quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yes, I agree with you. Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott is not going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. We have enough sample size of the Cowboys with Dak in the playoffs, and he is not going to string together 3 or 4 playoff wins. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I mean, have you been paying attention, Maggie? How is all of a sudden the next, say, 3 years, something's going to change that radically? How?
Okay, but you think that Kyle Shanahan's going to win a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, because he's a coach. He's going to be there for another 22 years.
I'm just saying, you believe this person is going to win a Super Bowl, even though they keep going to the playoffs and losing, and they keep going to the Super Bowl and losing. I'm just saying, you're willing to go there with someone else for the proof, without proof, because you believe. Yes. Yet you're not doing that for Dak.
Well, no, but Kyle Shanahan has been a great playoff coach. He's won tons and tons of playoff games.
Okay,
Dak has really struggled. He's performed so much better in the regular season than the playoffs. Dak, and not just Dak, the entire Cowboys have been incredibly disappointing in the playoffs. Kyle Shanahan has not. He's blown some big games, but they win a ton of playoff games.
I know, but he's been disappointing. I mean, you have double-digit leads in 2 Super Bowls. I'm just
besides
saying,
Andy Reid, I'm sure he's won more playoff games than any other active coach.
But I'm just saying, for one guy, you're willing to say you feel very confident that he can do it, even though you don't have the proof. And with another guy, you're saying no. Well, Kyle Shanahan has blown bigger spots than Dak Prescott has.
Right, but there was 2 major differences.
Well, I understand
that. You have a 3-year window with Dak. You have a 27-year window with Kyle Shanahan. Also, Kyle's come so close. Dak's coming. No, yeah, I mean, he's 46,
No, because
right?
you have to you'd have to keep turning the team over. Like, this is, whether it's a coach or whether it's a player, you get my logic here, right?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
Like Kyle Shanahan's he's been so much more successful in the postseason. He's made 2 Super Bowls, 2 NFC title games. Dak's nowhere close. He keeps on going out in the first round.
Okay, I just think
Except for Tampa.
Which it was awesome and sent Tom Brady into retirement for real. I just think that just because he hasn't yet, to me, doesn't mean he's never gonna. And I think to say that for somebody who has a lot of talent like he does, and he does have talent, guys. Like, it's fun to clown Dak Prescott. He's a talented quarterback, and most teams would feel lucky to have him.
Yeah, I feel like he could win one in L.A. with McVay down the road. He could win one. Who knows, Miami? I have no idea, but I just don't think.
So again, that's not blaming it on him. That's blaming it on the circumstances
around him.
I think
Dak is not going to win with the Cowboys. That's
because of Dak or because of something else.
Jerry Jones.
Okay, so it's not Dak's fault.
No, I'm not saying it's Dak's fault. Yeah, but the question is, if they start off, if they signed to a 3-year deal, should they expect a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? I would say no.
But that's not because of.
That's because of the Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not because of Dak Prescott. It's because Jerry's meddling or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Dak's a really good quarterback. Dak is definitely one of these 15 or so quarterbacks I think could win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But it's not if they resign him tomorrow for 3 years, say $55 million per year, $60 million per year. Do you think a realistic expectation is he's going to win a Super Bowl in that window?
I think the expectation should and would be Super Bowl. Yes. I don't know why it would change.
Do you think that? Yeah, I mean, because the Cowboys haven't won in 30 years. I just think that, maybe that's your expectation, but it doesn't feel realistic right now.
855-212-4227. Okay, you can weigh in on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Will they ever win a Super Bowl together if this relationship continues? Coming up, we do have the Steelers quarterback battle. This one is getting interesting. Also later in the hour, Damien Priest, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, will join us as well.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome. They said it was Russell Wilson's job. It's Russell Wilson's job. It's Russell Wilson's job. Well, Perloff, is the tune changing just slightly with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin? Welcome to the show, by the way.
I owe you an apology. I was like, it's going to be Russ. Like, Tomlin would be so secure about it in April. And, man, has his tune changed in a significant way. Yes, it still seems like it's Russ, but now it feels like we have a quarterback battle. Now it looks like he's viewing Justin Fields differently as a potential starter.
Yeah, it's just a very interesting dynamic. I mean, how is this not going to turn into some type of battle? Because it's not like Fields is some scrub. He's not going to go out there and look totally lost. He's not a rookie. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, Russell Wilson has this calf issue that he's dealing with, and that just cracked open the door ever so slightly. Now, the football side of this is what it is, right? Whether Russ gets the job first and maybe we end up seeing both of these guys at one point during the season, the football part is obviously the most important. Mm-hmm. However, that's not the only thing going on here. There's got to be a interpersonal dynamic as well. And when you have two guys who, let's be honest, both have so much at stake here, so much. Russ is obviously trying to reclaim and recapture that former glory with this traditional program, this blue blood of the NFL, if you will, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, we were asking last year, Pearl, has Russell Wilson hurt his Hall of Fame candidacy because of how bad things are going with Denver? Well, this is an opportunity to get all that glory back in a hurry, right? You succeed with the Steelers. That's going to go a long way, I think, for your resume, and could be the last thing that people see when they are deciding whether or not you're going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer or what have you.
Well, I just think it's not even succeed, just be better than you were in Denver. Pittsburgh's not a place, in that current team, he's not going to put up big numbers there because they brought in Arthur Smith, who's, not, I would say not a high octane offense guy. He's more ball control.
But if they do a lot of winning, people just get remembered as winners. And I don't know if Super Bowl is realistic right now for the Steelers, but at least you're not the dumpster fire of what Denver was.
I think 9-8 with decent stats. I think Russ needs to just right the ship here. But I'm not sure. What does Fields have at stake?
Tons.
There's way more at stake for Russ.
I think Fields has everything at stake.
Why? He's going to be a free agent next year, and he can go anywhere and try and win a job. Like Russ is his whole career hinges about. Justin Fields is going to be fine. Why does he need this job?
Are we sure he's going to be fine?
Yeah, go start at Carolina next year or something. He's free. He's on the market next year.
Okay, but here's the thing. We just saw what the market was for Justin Fields when the Bears were getting rid of him, and it was zero. I mean, it was depressing. That had to be humbling, even if they're spinning it now. Oh, I want to go to the Steelers. They did right by me, sending me to the Steelers. Listen, if the Bears had gotten a better offer, they definitely would have taken it. Not that I'm calling Ryan Poles a liar, but if somebody was willing to offer a first or second round pick for Justin Fields, they were definitely taking that. So the return was not very big. I think that had to be sobering for Justin Fields. Hey, what does the rest of the league think about me? And this is somebody who, proud college career, first round pick, okay? your opportunity to not only be a starter in this league, but make tons and tons and tons of money is hanging in the balance. You'll make a living. Oh, you'll make a living as a backup quarterback if people want you for that. But we're talking about guys like Tua and Jordan Love off of 18 games getting $55 million a year. Justin Fields has everything at stake here because, to be honest, I don't think you get tons and tons and tons of chances if you're his type of quarterback. Like, if you can't show that you can throw the ball down the field and not turn it over, then I don't think you get infinite amount of chances to become a starter. So I think Justin Fields has to be feeling all the pressure in the world. And what does that lead to in this room? Where Russell Wilson's feeling pressure and Justin Fields is feeling pressure. Yeah. And what is their actual dynamic going to be like?
I don't know. This is a league where Aiden O'Connell might start for the Raiders. Fields will get another shot. That's just the way it's going to be. I don't, and honestly, he might have a better, you say he goes to Carolina, that's bad. I mean, what is this Pittsburgh team? Is this a place to show off your passing chops? I'm not so sure. I feel like Mike Tomlin with this particular team wants to hand the ball off and let TJ Watt win the game. I'm not sure that this is going to be a showcase year for Justin Fields. You're right. It'd be huge for him, but let's face it, is his future really in Pittsburgh? He's going to be a free agent either way. I think that he's more likely to sign somewhere else.
Well, I mean, he's probably hoping it's in Pittsburgh because you want to go to a team, I think, that's a little bit more stable, right? The coach, they've had 3 coaches. You know that if people like you in that building and they believe in you, they're going to stay with you. Carolina is whatever way the wind blows in Carolina. You could have a whole new GM and a whole new coach in 2 years and you're out on your butt. So I do think that the stability of the Steelers and their status, I think, probably does have a little bit to do with it.
I don't know.
He's fighting for his NFL starter life.
I don't know. I do not think so. I think he starts next year. I think he'd probably be better off, honestly, sitting behind and getting everybody interested, like your guy Mitchell Trubisky did in Buffalo. I just think that. I just don't know if this is a great situation for either quarterback. Maybe Fields can do something and get the big payday. Honestly, I feel like more likely scenario is he floats through this season and gets a real shot next year. Because do you have faith that either quarterback is going to have a lot of touchdowns there?
I don't know. It's probably going to be a little more of how it looks than what the final score is, because you're right. I don't think they're trying to blow people out of the water with their offense. But how does it look? Can you not turn the ball over, not take sacks? Can you be competent?
That's a big deal for Fields.
No doubt.
I would be shocked if all of a sudden that he fixed that, because the guy holds on to the ball forever.
So the other part of this, too, is, why I don't think he has infinite chances and why I think there's a lot of pressure on Fields. He must be feeling the pressure, is because you always have new guys who are coming into the league. And to start over with a young quarterback always has this sort of appeal because it helps save coaches' jobs, it extends GM's life, and obviously they're super duper cheap. Here's Russell Wilson. He said he sees himself as a mentor to Justin Fields, and that started even before this season.
I think, more than anything else, we've known each other for some years now, and I've always tried to be a mentor in some way to him. We've always texted, called, whatever it may be in the past. And the same thing now, I believe that when you give as much knowledge that I have or experience or gone through, it comes back in return for you in the long run. We're a team. We're always trying to work to get better together.
Okay. Let's rock. Thank you. Is he doing that this year? I don't think he is. Anyway.
Mr. Unlimited.
Steelers country. That's great. And it seems like they have a good relationship, Pearl. Again, you add the pressure of both wanting to get a lot, I think, out of the season. Maybe that changes things. But let's not forget, and listen, he may have matured a lot since then, but we go back to Justin Fields in his rookie year. The reporting was the quarterback room in Chicago was, quote, bleeping toxic as hell. And that was because older quarterbacks like your friend Andy Dalton and also Nick Foles believe they were trying to give Justin Fields all this knowledge and wisdom and be a mentor, and he wanted no part of it. So maybe he's not so big into the mentor-mentee relationship, and this is more of a Russ saying this thing, and maybe Justin's like, listen, I'd prefer to just, kind of listen to the coaches and go my own way. Yeah,
I think that's more likely. But does it really matter, this whole mentor-mentee relationship? Obviously, I don't believe that Favre ever mentored Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was awesome when he got on the field. So I don't. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm skeptical of this whole thing, but it really doesn't matter. There's no connection between an older quarterback mentoring a younger quarterback and that younger quarterback's success. That's just one of those things that people talk about.
Right.
I don't think Justin Fields is probably listening to Russell Wilson, and I don't think he needs to because he's going to be on his own journey anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, we didn't know this maybe about the Bears at the time, but, like, having a toxic any position group room, let alone the quarterback one, it's just not the sign of a – well, I don't know what it's the sign of. I don't know, but I have to imagine you'd rather have harmony in there than you would toxicity.
I don't know. I mean, again, back to – I don't think Favre and Rodgers were tight when they were there, and they both performed really well. I'm not sure.
That's also because Rodgers never really had to step in, and they weren't ever fighting each other for the job. It was very obvious that Brett was the starter and Aaron was the backup until that changed because Favre was gone from the city.
I hear what you're saying, but they're definitely like, I don't think it was as smooth as you're saying it was.
No. I'm just saying they never were really competing for the job. Yeah. Just like Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love were not competing for the job. The Packers do a good job of kind of separating that.
Well, right, but I think
this is a competition right now between Russ and Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be competitive like any position battle. What's funny about Russell Wilson?
What's that?
Like, I don't think any players really engage with him. I don't think he has any tight relationships on the team. So I feel like he just floats in a different universe, right? Like, I mean, that's his thing, isn't it? Like, remember all those articles on the Seahawks? Everybody he never had any close friends on the team. Nobody really related to him. He's different. So I think that Russ is good at keeping a distance. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like you're not going to have a repeat of Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, and Justin Fields. Like, can you see Russell Wilson and Justin Fields like arguing? That seems like totally out of left field.
No, I don't know if it's about arguing, but is this situation a bit of a powder keg just because you have two guys who really need this for two different reasons? Yeah. And I think when you have that kind of competition set up, sure, does it bring out the best in guys? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the iron sharpens iron thing. But is there a personality part of this where Russell Wilson's is saying, listen, I'm the big brother here, and you're like the little brother. And Justin Fields didn't love that the last time it happened in Chicago.
Yeah, but I think nobody connects with Russell Wilson anyway. He's just his own corporation that has nothing to do with anybody else on the team. I mean, you see the way Russell Wilson operates.
I always assume it's different behind the scenes. He's a little looser. He's talking about playing Uno for an hour and a half.
No way. There was a famous Sports Illustrated piece by Greg Bishop where one of his teammates was ripping him for having 3 tuxedos in the backseat of his car.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's
you don't think he can
Russell
play Uno
Wilson
with the guys?
Come on. There is probably the entire NFL, there's probably no player that is more separate from his teammates than Russell Wilson. I don't even think that's a hot take. He's Russell Wilson. You heard him right there. Let's ride Broncos country. I mean, it's a total thing. Maybe, I don't think it's different behind closed seats. I think that they're casual and I think they're professional. I do not think there's any tension here. Here's a big question. Do they keep Russ? If they decide on Fields, like, they can't keep Russ. He's got to go, right?
Wait, what?
Well, they're going to... Everyone thinks like Russ is only $1 million. Like, just cut him, right? If you have a guy on a veteran minimum who's not starting, like you can't have Russ floating around. So you cut Russ and he goes to like the Raiders. That's what a lot of people are saying.
I never even thought that would be a possibility because I would just assume you need two quarterbacks to get through the season. So if Justin Fields wins the job, just keep Russell Wilson as the backup.
Unlimited.
Okay. I don't know. Just the way the money is, it just feels weird to have a veteran there who's making veteran minimum sitting backing up Justin Fields. That sounds like an awkward situation.
Wow.
I mean, just again, the whole league is set up around money, and you have basically 2 free quarterbacks. So I don't know. I think he'd be easy to get rid of.
But why cut him if he's so cheap?
I mean, I said chemistry doesn't matter, but it's just. Are you really supporting Justin Fields? Like, it's just you can't have a 36-year-old future Hall of Famer veteran sitting there behind him.
Really? I mean, listen, we saw this in Cleveland where Deshaun Watson couldn't have Joe Flacco like in the building, which is kind of that's weird. But you really think that if Fields wins this job out of camp, they would cut Russell Wilson? I think they keep him no matter what.
I don't know. I think they'd be tempted to because and also Russ might ask out. That's also a big possibility.
To go where?
The Raiders are one team that jumps to mind.
Huh. Raiders could have had him. 855-212-4227. They went with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, let's see. I just think that, like, first of all, it's only the end of July. Yeah, I think he might not have a job. But this happened a lot where guys are, like, floating around and then just get cut at the end and can't find a home. Russell would not be a great backup. I mean, is that who you want as your backup quarterback?
I think actually yes, because if I'm in a playoff hunt, I could have a veteran like Russell Wilson who could come in if something happens to Fields, and all of a sudden I'm still in playoff contention. Like, I don't take a big dip.
He's just very prideful. I'm not sure he'd be a great backup.
Interesting. 855-212-4227. That had not entered my mind. I did not think that Russell Wilson would be cut, but kind of underscores the point. Can this situation work with the two of them, with Justin Fields and with Russell Wilson?
I mean, did you think the Broncos were going to bench Russell Wilson in Week 14 on a winning streak?
No, but they did eventually bench him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did you think they were going to bench him mid-season?
Oh, I did not, no.
Yeah, I just think that these things happen really fast. If Russ is named the backup, his agent is immediately calling saying, get him the heck out of here.
Wow, 855-212-4227. It's a new wrinkle. Think about that. Is this situation going to unravel is the question. Steelers quarterback situation. You can weigh in. You can watch the show, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and on X at Maggie Gray. You can download the Maggie and Perloff podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave us a 5-star review, it's very small, but things that help us go a long way. Also, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app is where you can find the show. It's crystal clear. You got the rewind function. It's really a good user experience. It really is. And Sirius XM channel 158. World heavyweight champion Damien Priest going to join us. Don't move. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Remaining.
My name is Hav, O-H to the O-V.
Impressed with NBC's Al Michaels AI.
Three minutes remaining.
Wakes up at dawn, coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are tuned in tight to Infinity Sports Radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words you find your life, from highlights to the breaking second views, scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daily's keeping score, YouTube's his love. He's begging for more, double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow. Daily's hooked, he's looking for the show. Chasing trends, Daily's on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Daily's voice. Steady to breeze. Steady to preach. Reach it to preach.
Sonnets to Tom Glavine.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Just a lot of disagreements today, all over the place. Maggie and I are on different pages, and I love it. Of course, great debate today, Dream Team versus Redeem Team. That is one I have never been more confident in a debate about in the history of my life. That people are with me, there's no debate. Of course, you can weigh in 855-212-4227. Come on, Maggie, Dream Team, Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. You're out on some limbs today, just admit it.
Listen, I will stick with the Redeem Team. They were facing much tougher challenges than the Dream Team ever did. 7-game series. You're telling me that's not competitive? Kobe and LeBron in their prime.
Facing tougher challenges does not make you a better team. Okay, whatever. You know, I'm with Pete. There's smoke coming out of my ears.
That's right.
As far as whether or not the Cowboys are still America's team, I think everyone's with me on that one. They no longer hold that title. Whatever measure you want to use for it, whether it's, maybe not TV ratings, they're still a big draw, but the shine has come off of the Cowboys just because fans are so beyond frustrated with what they've been seeing.
I think that wait till October against San Francisco, 40 million people are going to watch that game. That's how it works.
Well, I mean, that has a little to do with the 49ers, too, doesn't it?
No, that's my point. The Niners are going to play somebody else the week before, and they'll get 10 million. Then they're going to play the Cowboys, who get 40 million. The common ingredient is it's not the 49ers. It's not the Chiefs. It's no one. It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are right there with them now, especially the Taylor Swift aspect of it. Whew, that's a lot of new eyeballs.
You're giving me T-Swizzle. That's a different conversation. But still, all things being equal, Cowboys.
Dexter Henry is here with headlines for us on this fine Wednesday morning. Good morning, Dex.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, wait, 1 second. You're head to toe in Steelers gear. Before you get to the update, Perloff just had a theory that if Justin Fields, not a theory, you're asking a question.
I am definitely not the first, second, or third person who said this, that a lot of the insiders think if Justin Fields wins a job, that Russ will leave. Because he's only got $1 million. He'll get cut or he'll ask to leave.
You asking me how I feel about that?
Yeah. Do you think that's possible, true? Because a lot of people don't think Russ can sit there as a backup.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see him not wanting to sit there as a backup. And if that happens, I actually am one of the people that think if Justin Fields, who's younger and has more upside, I think that's the better situation for the Steelers if he wins the job.
The reason being,
without a doubt.
The reason that teams don't cut guys is because of dead cap and stuff like this. Russ is taking nothing up, so he can come or go. And he has no footprint there at all.
But here's the thing. If you're Russ and you're going to do I'm a great teammate and it's all about the team and it's all about that, then you're going to turn around and say, if I'm not the starter, I want to take my ball and go home?
Yeah.
I mean, what's that about?
Well, I mean, do you believe Russell Wilson when he says all those things?
I don't know.
You were like, I never bought it. You weren't buying that at all, right?
No, I mean, I just think that he wants a chance to start, and I think he'd be really frustrated. I don't think he can sit there behind 25-year-old Justin Fields. It would just be so weird.
But how long are you sitting? Because what if Fields goes out there and doesn't distinguish himself? This is still a team that's going to want to make the playoffs. Yeah. It's Mike Tomlin. They want a winning record. And by the way, the back half of their schedule is brutal. We've talked about it. It's basically one division game after the next. It's all stacked to the back of the season and the Chiefs. And so it's so many tough games. Like if I'm Russ, I sit around. I might be the finisher and the closer here.
Feels wrong to me to start Justin Fields week 1 and pull in Russell Wilson halfway through the season. I get your logic. It totally makes sense. It just doesn't feel right. That feels so awkward.
Who do you think wins the job?
I think so. I'll bet Russ. I still think Russ wins it. Throwing that ball up in the air 50 yards downfield to George Pickens. I just think Fields, I don't know. He doesn't fit the team perfectly either. Neither quarterback is in an ideal situation. I'm not a huge fan of Arthur Smith, your offensive coordinator, either. Just because last year...
Better than Matt Canada, I'll say that.
Yeah, better than Matt Canada. But last year, I was trying to draft some Atlanta Falcons in fantasy football, and Arthur Smith never gave him the darn ball.
That is true.
So I don't know. My expectations are low. Maggie, who's your favorite?
I think Russ is going to win the job because while it is a quarterback battle, I think if it's equal, the tie will go to Russ.
Yeah, good point.
And I think he's got some relationships in the building that are helping this along. Not that Mike Tomlin doesn't run his own ship, but I do think being really a business partner of one of the minor owners, how does that not help you? Dex, what's for headlines today? What do you have for
Some quick headlines we got. Guys, 11 days ago in an exhibition game, Team USA men's basketball, they needed a late basket by LeBron James to avoid being upset by South Sudan. But prior to that game in London, USA were 43.5-point favorites, but they won by just 1 point. So the rematch goes down today as group play continues. And the odds makers, they've made a significant adjustment.
Wait, you said 43 points was the first spread?
Yeah, 43.5 points was the first spread.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now there's an adjustment, guys. As of this morning, Team USA only 29.5 points.
That's minus 110. I thought about it.
This is like Alabama versus Samford. I can't believe it was a 43-point spread. That's incredible. And even 29 feels rich.
Yeah.
So if that feels rich, I'm going to ask here, do you have any concern that Team USA does not cover the spread here today against South Sudan?
I definitely have a concern they won't cover. I mean, they're going to win, I think, but I think they could easily not cover because if South Sudan's a sharpshooting team, they can get themselves back into you can make the score respectable, I think, if you can hit some late threes.
And they shot the ball well in the last game.
Yeah, they hit 14 threes in the last.
I think I'm going to bet the Team USA because they had this can't miss feel in the last game. Like they can't repeat that kind of shooting. And, Wenyan Gabriel, former teammate of LeBron, seemed to have LeBron's number for about 37 seconds. So LeBron said, forget that. I think Team USA comes in more serious because of the close game and does cover.
Oh, well, they definitely come in more serious.
It's a lot of points. Yeah.
29.5 is a lot of points.
I can't believe it was 43.5. That kills me.
Yeah, it really was. All right, we got some more anger for the people this morning where clearly old rivalries don't die hard, right? They just doesn't happen at all. So at this year's the basketball tournament, a.k.a. TBT, there are two teams with a bit of history. One squad is called La Familia. That's made up of 2010 Kentucky players. The other is called the Ville. That's a roster of Louisville basketball alums. Now, the two teams played at Freedom Hall on Tuesday night in Louisville. So what could possibly happen between these two in-state rival basketball alums playing in the state of Kentucky? If you guessed a scuffle, you would be correct. Here's what happened.
Going after it. Not surprising. They got police here on the floor. You knew it would be personal. Leave it to a Harrison to knock down the game winner. And now tensions are rising here. And now this is a scene you do not want.
Except they might have wanted it there in Kentucky. So former Kentucky star Nate Sestina claimed that the brawl was ignited when Chinano Unaku spit at him. So in a video posted to social media, it does appear that Unaku spit at Sestina. Now, there was some pushing and shoving. No punches were thrown, guys, after this. The former Wildcat players, they won the game 70-64. I don't really have a question here other than I'm kind of not surprised.
That's these old rivalries definitely die hard. Was that one of the Harrison twins?
Yes, that hit game winner.
I remember one was Aaron. Who was the other?
Andrew.
Oh, Andrew
was the other one.
I thought those guys were going to be definite NBA players. Man, was I wrong about that. This is cool. I like that there's rivalries because you don't have many anymore.
I agree. I think some to it.
I don't want to see. Well, actually, I kind of do want to see fighting, but
At one point, did they say the police are on the floor?
The police were on the floor.
Wow.
They were. If you see the video, you can check it out on social media. They get on the floor. They got everything under control.
Yeah.
So it was not that bad.
And is this the one where they play for $1 million?
That is the one. That is the one where
I
they
have
play.
trouble with all these side basketball leagues. And I did know, by the way, I don't know if you have it. Is American 3-on-3 basketball getting smoked over the Olympics?
So the men's team lost in their first game to Serbia. They lost, and Jimmer Fredette only 4 points in that game.
Come on, Jimmer.
Yeah, right? Like Jimmer Fredette, 3-on-3. We can't get the gold in this.
By the way,
This is
how
ridiculous.
old is Jimmer Fredette right now?
He's not that old, I don't think.
5, if I recall correctly.
35?
Yeah, Jimmer
We've got nobody else. We've got all these basketball stars. No disrespect, Jimmer Fredette, upstate New York, all day.
All day for you, yeah.
But
No, 3-on-3 is a different sport.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but even with the different sport, we don't have any other guys. The NBA's we've got more talent than we know what to do with. How many guys got snubbed off of the 5-on-5 roster? We could have easily put together this other 3-on-3. I know you have different qualifiers and you have to kind of distinguish yourself as a 3-on-3. It's not just like, oh, I'll raise my hand and sign up. But we have more talent than...
You don't put current NBA players on 3-on-3, right? That's not a thing.
They haven't done it. The
women's side
The women's
does.
side has done it.
Stephanie Dolson's on there.
Yeah,
isn't she?
Darika Hamby's
You got
also
to put the
playing
cat,
there, too.
Katino Mobley. He's an awesome 3-on-3 player. Like, all the 3-on-3 leagues, give me Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Like, you can't put a current
You just
player.
want big three guys out.
Yeah.
They
I
already
want the
got
retired guys. I don't want to see the
okay.
current. I don't need to see, like, I don't know,
But
Bruce
you're
Brown
telling
on the 3-on-3 team. What does that do? We'll kill everybody. I need to see Jimmer.
We could have had Jalen Brunson on this team.
Yeah.
We couldn't have had...
That's like what 3-on-3 basketball. 3-on-3 is retired players and non-NBA players.
No, but again, on the women's side, that's not how it is.
Yeah, the women are having pros and some college ladies out there as well too.
You're telling me that guys like De'Aaron Fox wouldn't want a shot? Like, you're not going to get on the 5-on-5 team, so why don't you go for the 3-on-3 team?
Cameron Brink was supposed to be on the 3-on-3 team, but she got hurt.
Okay. I don't know.
No. All right. Last thing I have. I've got a positive story, okay? Because Maggie gave us a good one with the pastrami sandwich. So let's end on a positive note. Technology may have likely saved the life of former San Antonio Spurs player Sean Elliott. According to an Instagram post from his wife, Claudia, Elliott's Apple Watch detected an irregular heartbeat, and cardiologists were able to shock Elliott's heart back into rhythm. In her Instagram post, Claudia shared that her husband wasn't experiencing any previous symptoms. However, his watch had been warning him for the last couple of weeks that he was in atrial fibrillation, which is when the heart beats regularly and can lead to a stroke. So Sean Elliott, he's doing well. He's recovering. Says he's grateful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. Remember, he was sick back in college. Yeah.
Yep. And Sean Elliott does a great job on the Spurs games.
Yes.
Great broadcaster, too. We've interviewed him a couple times. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. I ran into him once in a hotel in D.C. in the lobby. Posed for a picture. This is long before I got into broadcasting. Just good guy all around.
Would have been great on the 3-on-3 team, too.
Honestly, let's get him out there. Dexter, thank you so much. Okay, we turn our attention now to who else? The WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the man himself. That is Damien Priest, who joins us right here on Maggie and Perloff. We should mention that SummerSlam, this is Saturday, August 3rd. This Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Perloff on Peacock. Damien, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. The pleasure is all ours. Now, we were in Philadelphia when you became the world heavyweight champion. It was so exciting. What has been the coolest thing you've gotten to do since you become the WWE heavyweight champ?
There's a list, actually. I mean, the experience I got at Yankee Stadium was pretty cool. I got to be on the field and hang out with the players, and they gave me, gifts. I was like, well, I mean, I'm the champ, but I'll take more. That was a really, really cool day. And then I got to be on the Telemundo float for the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and that was obviously special to me. I'm a very, representative, like I'm big proponent of representation. So that to me was a very special day. And it's everything in between, just the fan reception, and everywhere I go, it's kind of like, oh, the champ is here. It's weird, still weird. It's still like in the dream phase, but it's pretty neat.
Damien, I saw you on the field with Aaron Judge, and I was shocked that Aaron Judge was huge. I mean, you're a big guy. Get him in the ring. Wouldn't he be a great wrestler?
Right? Oh man, I think he'd succeed. He's one of those. He's just a natural athlete, and then like you see him, and yeah, he's a mountain of a person. But he did have cleats on. Just saying.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get him to the combine. You know, when you get the real measurement, like on his shoes. Damien Priest is the world heavyweight champ. He joins us right here on Maggie and Perloff. He got SummerSlam is this Saturday. Now you mentioned you got to go to Yankee Stadium. You got to throw out a first pitch. You're not just like a casual fan. You are a partial season ticket holder. You're New York born and bred. This is like legit fandom. Even though you don't live in New York anymore, you make it back up to go to so many Yankee games. I mean, this is a huge part of who you are. I can't imagine, how are the nerves different from throwing out a first pitch at Yankee Stadium versus 80,000 people in Cleveland when you're going to be performing at SummerSlam?
So I actually haven't had the pleasure of throwing out the first pitch
I thought
yet.
you did.
No, that was the one thing that's missing. Which I'm pretty jealous that some other players have gotten that opportunity, but I'm still hopeful for Yankee Stadium. But I've thought about it, so I I think about it a lot. So I know I definitely practice a lot, but I feel like I'd be nervous just for the fact that like the catcher's got to catch the ball. I don't have to throw a perfect strike, but he's got to catch the ball. I used to play baseball when I was a kid, so I can throw. So that would be my biggest thing. Like I can't let other wrestlers throw a better baseball than I can.
You guys are so competitive with each other.
Are there nerves in front of gigantic wrestling crowds? I mean, and not only that, how many people are watching on television as well, like WrestleMania in Philadelphia, just the amount of eyeballs. Do you think about that, or are you just immune to the crowds at this point?
No, I become a nervous wreck sometimes. Just the idea, like when you really think about it, when my mind's distracted and I'm thinking about a certain, moment in a match or what I want the ending to be or, things like that. I'll just distract my mind. I'm okay. But as soon as I start thinking about the actual act of walking out there and everybody screaming, and then of course negative thoughts start, like, what if I trip and fall? My entrance. those are the real fears. Like when I'm going up to the turnbuckle just to put my hands up to the crowd. What if I flip forward and fall on my face? I don't know. I just think of the worst case scenarios. So I start getting nervous, and I'm like, oh, please don't embarrass yourself. So those are the big ones. And of course, you want to deliver. You want to make sure our fans, get their money's worth, and we do deliver the best show possible and the greatest show on earth. So that's a lot of pressure. So and naturally, I'm human, so I do feel every single one of those nerves.
Damien Priest is joining us. Of course, he's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It was a long time coming for you too, Damien, and we'll get into your career and all the obstacles that you've overcome to get to where you are. You said, obviously, very proud of your Puerto Rican heritage. You had this epic match with Bad Bunny that happened in Puerto Rico. And, some of these celebrity matches, it can be kind of hit or miss. It's probably just got to be very different from your point of view. That one was such a huge success. Why was that so successful? And would you welcome a rematch with Bad Bunny?
First of all, yes, I would definitely welcome a rematch because I didn't get the win, so I need to get that one back. But I think the success of it goes into the work we put in. I'll say this about Bad Bunny. For a celebrity, an outsider, somebody who's not from this world, the amount of work that he put in and the rigorous training that he went through and what he put his body through, knowing that he has this huge career, that he should be focusing on. Just speaks to the volumes of the type of entertainer he is, willing to put in the work to make sure that our fans, his fans, and everybody in between is proud that he didn't just come in to just take somebody's spot and to come promote a song or a movie. He came in because he was a fan and he wanted to do the business justice. And I know, because I was the one who originally trained him. I'll say this, like, my man could take a hit and he'll say ow, but he'll get back up and say, all right, let's do it again. It was impressive to see what he was willing to put himself through. And then when it came time for us to feud and us to have a match, he was game, and he got himself in better shape, and he got a trainer and whatnot. And, we went out there, and I think the island helped a lot, that atmosphere and, the vibe in that Coliseum. definitely helped us put on a better show. I feel like we live in our business. We live through the fans. We need that energy. That's how we know what we're doing is working. So the fact that they were on fire, it just made everything easier for us, and we killed it.
Damien, we have a lot of old school wrestling fans in the building here. Listen to the show. You could have a dream match against anybody, past or present. Going back in the day, I know you probably grew up a huge wrestling fan. Who's the guy that you would get in the ring with if you could go back in time?
Undertaker. He was that was my favorite growing up. He was the reason why I fell in love with his business. Just the way he made me feel, like the emotions that I felt watching this guy. Whether it was excitement, fear, whatever. I just knew I was like, I need to make somebody feel those emotions for me. He got me excited, and then just a cool character, right? He's like Batman, biker, and evil. It was just cool to me, and I'm into weird stuff like that. So, the Taker was definitely my guy.
Damien Priest is our guest. He's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. SummerSlam. It's already this Saturday, August 3rd. It always pops up before you know it. 7 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. You're going to be taking on Gunther. You guys have had some fun matchups, including last week, which I saw, which was a fun surprise. What makes Gunther such a formidable foe for you, Damien?
He's a perfect old school mixed with new school wrestler. He's simple. You see him in black trunks, nothing flashy, very straightforward. But that bell rings. It's the guy's unreal. He held the Intercontinental Championship. He's the longest reigning of all time. Nobody's held it longer than him. None of the all-time greats. He is the all-time leading man in that title, for that title, which has been held by so many Hall of Famers. And he's only lost 3 matches, I believe, in the company since he's been here for, 4 or 5 years. So, that's pretty impressive. Those things don't usually happen that way. Everybody wins, everybody loses, but this guy seems to not really lose that much. So it's definitely a tough task for me, and he's a big guy. He's 6'4". He has a crazy pedigree, for the business. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to testing myself against someone like that, and somebody who can push me a little further. So this is going to definitely be one to watch.
All right, I have a question you're not going to like. I'll give you a choice. You had a win over Gunther, or I'll give you a Yankees World Series win this year. Which are you taking, Damien?
Oh, boy. Oh, man, that's...
I'll give you a rematch with Gunther, too, afterwards, just to give you a little enticement. So all you have to do is lose this once, and you get back. And things are looking good. Things are looking up.
That was rough. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think I'd choose the rematch. Win the World Series.
Man, even with Jazz Chisholm now, I know he's a guy. Would he be a heel or a face? I'm not really sure. Jazz feels like he could go either way.
Yeah, I think he comes in as a face, but it quickly can turn on you. But no, what a great addition to the team. I'm pretty excited to see what he can do and where the Yankees can go with him.
Yeah, as a Yankee hater, congrats on all that. Lastly for you, Damien, so of course, SummerSlam, it's this Saturday, August 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. But on Monday, it's WWE 24. Damien Priest is also going to debut on Peacock. It's a real intimate, behind-the-scenes documentary about you and your rise to stardom in this company, and it has not been an easy journey for you. You've been open about some of the things in your past, including homelessness and other things. I mean, was there a low moment, and the moment when you really thought either about quitting or really just had moments of doubt? And if so, how did you get yourself through those moments?
Oh, absolutely. There was moments that I felt lost. Like I didn't know what I was doing with my life, where I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I don't know how to get to where I need to be. And that was just a matter of knowing your surroundings. Who's you surrounding yourself with? What position are you putting yourself in, and how much work are you putting in to follow your own dream? And that was the biggest thing for me. It was I was so reliant on people who gave me the worst advice, and just a pat on the back and saying, "Don't worry about it, you'll be fine," which is not what I needed to hear. And then when I decided to change my life completely, just completely surround myself with a different type of person, move from the area that I was living in, and really actually work hard for my dream and be able to look myself in the mirror and say, oh, I'm actually doing it. I'm not just telling people that I am. That was when I realized, oh, wow, this is possible. And then opportunities starting opening up. And little by little, I got myself into shape, and because I was really out of shape. And then I started realizing, oh, this is how this works. You got to put in work, I was fortunate that I was able to realize that. Some people don't. And the documentary, it was weird for me to do, to really let that much of myself in. I've always given, little glimpses, but this is a different scale. And my reasoning to finally do it was for that reason, just the idea that maybe somebody who just needs to see this to be ahead of the curve, to do it earlier than I did, because I wish I wasted a lot of time, and I wish I didn't. And hopefully that my journey can help somebody else.
Well, Damien, all your hard work is certainly paying off. Congratulations on your success. And we hope, you have a great match at SummerSlam against Gunther this Saturday. And also, we're really looking forward to the documentary, which airs Monday, August 5th, which is also going to be on Peacock. And we hope that when the Yankees are in the postseason, maybe you'll come back and visit us again.
Absolutely. And, obviously you guys mentioned it before. I go there all the time for games and whatnot. So I'll definitely come visit.
There we go.
Awesome.
Damien Priest, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Check him out this Saturday, August 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. It's SummerSlam. Thank you, Damien.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Gosh, that's the coolest Yankees fan alive right now.
Kind of hard to hate the team when they've got fans like that, huh? He's a likable dude. Okay, we'll get more and reaction to that in just a moment. Got to take a quick break and we're back. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Appreciate Damien Priest, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, who just joined us on the Maggie and Perloff show. SummerSlam's this weekend. If you are new to the program or not familiar with Perloff and I, we had quite a debut ourselves at WrestleMania back in April. Many lost bets led to Perloff, myself, EJ, Stewart, obviously, our executive producer, dressing up in fun outfits, going to Philadelphia, enjoying WrestleMania. It was cold, and we looked silly.
Nobody puts on a WrestleMania like my hometown of Philadelphia.
It was very drunken and debaucherous.
Actually, it was not really. There was a 9-year-old kid in front of me who was not drunk, who was double birding everybody. It's just like nowhere else is there a more profane group of children than the Link. I thought it did.
You must be really proud of that. You can see if you're watching us right now up on the screen, EJ and I as the tag team partner of the century. Perloff went in the Rowdy Roddy Piper ensemble, and boy did we make fools of ourselves, and boy did we make an entrance. We got to go right down next to the ring. It really was cool. The people at WWE really helped us out.
Yeah, I have that Roddy Piper t-shirt in my closet. I thought there'd be more occasions to wear it. There really aren't. I just can't go out on a Tuesday afternoon with a Hot Rod t-shirt without
what about the kilt.
The kilt, I would love to wear the kilt more often. I'm a big fan of kilts. It's just, I don't know. I'm.
Andrew Bogish was not a big fan of you wearing the kilt that day.
You're not even really supposed to wear shorts around this office, isn't there? Some sort of rule about that here? Or there was, let alone a kilt.
At one point, I think there was a no shorts policy here. Bogish, you're here sitting in our in the control room right now. Nope. You're going to come in and sit down in the studio. I'm not sure about the dress code. The dress code around here, I would say, lax.
There, once the legendary Mark Chernoff left, the dress code went with him. He was very anti-shorts.
Yeah.
Once he went, people basically downshifted to pajamas.
Well, did the biggest names, like the really successful people, like the most, did they wear shorts if they wanted to? You're telling me he told Craig Carton not to wear shorts?
No. So the no shorts rule applied to non-hosts.
Oh.
The people who he could boss around couldn't wear shorts.
He would boss around somebody, and then Francesca would walk in here with shorts on.
Yeah.
I remember once when Bart Scott came in wearing shorts that cost more than my car, and I was like, you're definitely not telling him to put on a pair of slacks.
Yeah, I mean, who's telling Bart Scott to put on pants? Not me.
Don't do it.
Not anybody.
Yeah, actually, that sounds weird.
You know, the no sandal policy I can get behind. Yeah. This is another thing that Francesa used to violate.
Sandals are lame. That's why, right?
Well, I just don't know sandals for the office.
I'm fine with it. But flip-flops, I just think they're uncool to a man wearing sandals. I mean, or do you mean like flip-flops?
I think, yeah, probably a flip-flop. What other kind of sandal would a man wear? A Birkenstock?
Like those leather sandals, like, you know. Like,
like a hippie sandal?
Yeah. Real quick, since we have Andrew Bogusch here, can you vote on our poll? Who do you think would win, the 92 Dream Team or the 2008 Redeem Team?
In what sport?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball. I'm going to go 92.
Okay, but how about this poll? Are the Dallas Cowboys still America's team?
No.
Well, all right. Here, how about this poll? Who will be the most watched TV team in the NFL next year?
The Chicago Bears.
Way to go outside the box. And it starts tomorrow at the Hall of Fame game. You're filling in for Bill Ryder today?
And tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah. Feel free to steal that Dream Team versus Redeem Team topic. Pete's
You're welcome.
Pete's reaction. Pete not only ripped it on air, he was screaming in my head the entire show. Redeem Team, give me a break. Dwight Howard?
Right. Carlos Boozer, get lost.
That wasn't even the most egregious person on the team. Oh, boy. Thank you, Peopleati. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan. Thank you to Dexter Henry, to Damien Priest, the WWE World Heavyweight Champ.
You're in a 5-minute break.